Welcome, YouTube.
Hey.
Welcome to Geekery Abides. We are here for episode 7. Let me make sure the recording is going on the podcast side. I guess I can get over to live chat as well. Can't get that top chat nonsense. But yeah, welcome. Got a couple people in here, it looks like. So let's go ahead and hit the intro, and then we can go ahead and dive right
I
into...
completely forgot we had an intro.
Yeah. Well, we didn't for the first couple episodes, but we do now. So let's go ahead and hit it.
He who is ashamed of his geekery has forgotten the face of Stan Lee.
You the proud, the geeky.
This is the podcast, Geekery Abides.
All right, hello and welcome to Geekery Abides. We are here for episode 7, and I am one of your hosts, as always, is Tad. With me is Peter, wearing the monstrous Chewbacca that tears arms off people and
Party animal shirt. Woo! Or as Chewbacca says, "Wee."
I don't know. We haven't really had a whole lot of discussions on the Wookiees and Ewoks and all the monstrous creatures of Star Wars, have we yet on this show?
Monstrous creatures of Star Wars, and you go for the two most adorable.
I don't know about that, sir.
Name one that's more adorable than a Chewbacca.
Quacky and monkey lizard.
No. No. Freaky little lizard monkeys, no.
Yeah, but we're here for episode 7, where we, for the main topic, in a little bit, we're going to be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which just came out. It's fairly new, but a couple days old now, but we will be talking about that. We saw it opening night on Thursday night, but we have, of course, some other things to get into first.
My wife says a porg is cuter than Chewbacca, and I think I'm sleeping on the couch tonight. That's wrong.
Porg,
No.
definitely cuter, and
No.
you know, the monstrous Chewbacca that cooked him and wanted to eat one. Don't even know if he ate it.
He should have eaten, and he should have ate all of them.
No.
Stupid little chickens.
Trying to think of some other cute creatures. Wampas, they're really adorable. All
Oh.
fuzzy and cute and whatnot.
Tauntauns. No, we might have a conversation about
Those are
tauntauns.
disgusting lizards.
Tauntauns?
Yeah.
Tauntauns aren't lizards.
Yeah, they are. Got scaly bodies and stuff.
Tauntauns?
Yeah.
What, they cut open and put Luke inside? They have fur.
They're very lizardy, too.
They are not lizardy.
Yeah, they are.
They have like ram horns. What do you mean lizard?
They're little monsters.
What about banthas?
Banthas are adorable.
Banthas are cute.
We could all agree that banthas are adorable.
Top 10 cutest animals in Star Wars, species in Star Wars.
I'm trying to think. I mean, there's also the little dude from Episode 9 that was also in The Mandalorian recently, the little Babu Frick,
Oh, yeah.
that little dude.
I don't know if you want to count him as... Well, if we're doing species, yes. But if we're doing animals, that doesn't count. Because Chewbacca would be out as well. Same with
No, I
Ewoks.
don't
They're
know.
both
No.
very highly intelligent creatures.
They're beasts. And of course, there is the baby Force Goblin,
Grogu. Sir Grogu. He's knighted.
Baby Yoda. He's
Sir Grogu.
he's probably going to be the
You're
going
to get Disney on our ass so hard. We're not supposed to say that. No, we're not connected. But
It's their fault.
yeah, how dare they?
Yeah, they should have had a fucking little dog collar on
A
it
name
at
tag.
the very beginning. Yeah. But let's go ahead and dive in. First of all, we have emails to give out here. So if you want to email either of us here, we are doing this a little bit different than our other show. We actually both have emails. You can reach out to either of us because we also trade off the producing side of things, picking the topics and stuff like that. So what are we? I'm odd, you're even.
Yeah.
So if you had input, suggestions, feedback, any kind of thing, you can send it to whichever of us you choose to. It's either Peter or Tad at geekeryabides.com. And of course, Tad is spelled T-A-D-D. Don't misspell that or it will go nowhere.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist if it's spelled incorrectly, which it is spelled incorrectly by a lot of people. So send emails either. So we still have yet to get an email for the show. But if you want to, that's the way you can do that. And then I guess we're jumping on over to the first thing we're talking about here is what have you been watching, reading, playing?
And I go first,
And
right?
it's you first.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Watching, I finished Chernobyl. I mean, it's only 5 episodes, but still watched it. God, it's so good.
For the happiness of all mankind.
Oh, don't. Nope. No, we're not going to talk about that. I'm still watching Rebels. I finished season 3. I'm about to start the final season, season 4.
Oh, wow.
It's hard because Sabine left, and I love Sabine, and I don't want her to go.
Yeah, it's all right. Season 5 is starting up here pretty soon.
Yeah, called Ahsoka.
Yeah, just honestly, I think they even asked Filoni that, and he's like, "Yeah, it's pretty much the next season of Rebels."
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
yeah. So,
Last weekend and this weekend, I watched 2 Indiana Jones movies with my wife for the first time. She's never seen them. I mean, I've seen them, obviously. I grew up on Indiana Jones. But she's never seen Temple. We watched Temple of Doom and Last Crusade. She adored Last Crusade.
I mean,
It's Sean Connery.
it really comes down to that or Raiders, which is better.
That was the question.
That's-
You know what was interesting about the dynamic in Last Crusade? She ended up having us pause the movie right around the time of our favorite line.
The floor's on fire.
And the chair.
And the chair.
And she was just talking. She's like, he's a goof. She's like, I love it.
Who?
She's like,
Sean Connery?
She's like, I expected Bond. And I think she was kind of describing a little bit. She can verify. She's in the chat. She's kind of expecting like a Daniel Craig kind of Bond.
Suave.
She's
debonair.
no, like the serious, because Daniel Craig only plays serious. That's really kind of only her experience with Bond. She's seen GoldenEye and then a couple Daniel Craig movies.
Yeah.
So she hasn't seen Sean Connery or Roger Moore or Timothy Dalton or any of the other old Bonds. So she doesn't know about the I am suave Sean Connery.
Yeah.
And so he's just playing kind of like a goofy guy and everything like that. And she
Yeah.
loved it.
Well, he isn't playing very Bondy.
No,
Like he's definitely doing something kind of different. 'Cause
absolutely different.
super geeky kind of guy. But yeah, no, it's it really that's what it really comes down to for me. Because Raiders is probably a better movie all around, but Last Crusade is as good. And then you got Sean Connery added in, and that
Yeah.
whole dynamic of those. It's just
Everything that he did had her laughing in fits. Like so. Like the pen is my and then
she's a Nazi. How did you know she was a Nazi? She talks in her sleep.
and she absolutely loved Brody.
Oh,
Loved, but also like pulling her hair out at him. She's like, "Oh my gosh, what is he doing?"
Oh man, that's great. That's cool. That's
Yeah.
unexpected.
She wants to be ready for Indy 5.
Oh,
she
yeah,
wants to see it in
true.
theaters. So
It's true.
So we have Kingdom of the Crystal Skull still to watch, which
Yeah.
I have not watched for
Ages.
a few years now. So
Yeah.
I currently am not reading anything.
Yeah. Same.
I finished Rose Matter. I'm not reading anything. I'm not listening to anything.
I'm in
our
podcast mode,
previous
so.
podcast actually just got a true crime suggestion for me to listen to. It's got 22 episodes. I forgot what it's called already. Brook Bear,
Bear something.
Bear,
Yeah. Stephen King recommended it, so.
which is why I'm Bear Brook.
Bear Brook. Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to go listen to. He says it's the best true crime podcast out there, and I am a huge fan of true crime. I'm fascinated by serial killers. I shouldn't say love. That's not the right way of expressing that I'm fascinated by them.
Yeah.
And then playing, I finished Borderlands 3, and I decided after reading that Batman book. Oh, that's what I finished. I finished the Batman book. That's the book that I finished, not Rose Matter.
Where did it end?
Batman,
Yeah. When did it? When was it published?
2016, so right before Batman versus Superman.
Okay.
Which is it was really kind of disappointing that he didn't talk about any of the animated movies really at all, which is like my go-to, like Batman Year One, and we're gonna get to it here on the show at some point. We're gonna watch that and then talk about it.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight Returns is adapted into 2 films, animated films and stuff like that. Some of those animated movies are so great, but yeah, it ends before we get the Zack Snyder Justice League. It ends before Pattinson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vengeance. So that's what I forgot. That's what I finished. But yeah. So after
Take it
that,
easy, sweetheart.
yeah. After that,
When is Penguin coming out?
They just released a trailer for it. It's coming out this year. in the fall, if I remember right. I watched the trailer. It's like a trailer / behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes thing.
So not
yeah.
even like a teaser.
Yeah.
Where it's just that, like, there's scenes of him like getting the makeup. There's scenes of him like standing and getting the director's like pointing and doing the director thing where he's directing.
Yeah.
And everything. And I think it announced it because it was released with the whole rebranding of HBO Max, which we're not going to talk too much about because Ted gets upset with that.
Yeah, I don't remember if we got anything in here for that or not, but yes.
And so because of that Batman book, I am so diving into the Arkham games. I already beat Origins. I just have to do like the Riddler cleanup stuff, which is the prequel one, not made by the same ones who made Asylum City and Arkham Knight. So I'm probably going to finish collecting all that stuff in Arkham Origins either tonight or tomorrow, and then I'll be into Arkham Asylum and soon into one of the greatest games of all time, Arkham City. I'll stand by that. What about you? What have you been doing?
Yeah, so changing the slide.
Hey, we remembered 2 points. That's 2 points. We remembered the emails and this slide. Yes.
Yeah, indeed. So for me, watching Succession has been going on in its final season. That show's killing it Sunday nights. As well as after Picard ended, I've decided to just not watch through all of Next Generation.
Are you just kind of dropping in?
Drop it into some episodes. Specifically, I was focused on the Borg stuff.
Okay.
But after the Best of Both Worlds, where Picard gets assimilated,
which was a season finale, you told me.
Season
right?
finale, and then it came into the next season was the conclusion.
Yeah.
A few episodes later, though, was Inner Light, which is the one I'm currently going to be watching, which is probably one of the best episodes ever made. It's one where they find a probe and it like zaps Picard, and he goes into he wakes up as someone else, and he essentially lives the whole tail end of this person's life with a wife and children, and their planet's exploding.
Oh,
And
wow.
he lives this whole, basically 20, 30 years of a life
Yeah.
while unconscious. I mean, it's all in a moment for everyone else, but
Yeah. Like he gets zapped by a probe, passed out. They're like, Captain, are you okay? But by the time he wakes up, he's lived
like a 30-year
Whoa,
lifespan.
that's crazy.
Including losing his wife and it's one of the most one of the greatest episodes of Star Trek.
I'm sure it's a gut punch.
Oh yeah, it's a great episode for sure. And then the only other thing I'm watching right now is Waco Aftermath,
which you're trying to get me to watch, which tells me that it's good.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, I mean the first Waco series was
so good.
Was incredible. So, the episode just aired yesterday, the newest episode. So I think there's one episode left. So
I think I know what I'm watching tonight after the girls go to bed.
Dude, it's been good so far. I mean, it's Michael Shannon.
You had him in your Dreamcasting last week for
yes.
Who'd you have him as?
I think
Arthur?
Dutch.
Yeah,
I think I had him as Dutch. Yeah. I felt he was a little bit too old for Arthur, but yes.
Okay.
That's all I got there. Reading, I haven't been reading anything. I generally audiobook it out, and I have been listening to podcasts recently. But playing, I have still been hitting Red Dead 2.
You actually text me and our coworker who's really into Red Dead. You got to the mission today? Last night?
Last night.
Last night.
I haven't played it yet.
Not today?
I
You're
had
not
to-
doing it?
No, so I completed one more mission for Dutch, and that moved
Spoiler for Red Dead 2, by the way.
that moved it to the next chapter, and I do think that was the trigger mission that I just completed for Dutch that allows me to get one more of the legendary animals. Because there's a few of them that are locked behind. You have to get a certain period of the game before you can get to them.
Yeah, there's two that the two of them that you have to get as John.
No, well, you can get one. You can get this one as Arthur because you have to get past it. It's like the Murphy. It's a mission with Murphy in the name, the Murphy Brood. Once you complete that mission and you move the camp up there, you could then go get one of the animals. That's the trigger point where you can go get it. So I think it's the gator.
Yeah. The bull gator doesn't show up until after you move up there. I actually ran into that. I'm like, why isn't this spawning? And I had to Google it and figure it out.
So I'm probably going to get that, and then I'll have to think about potentially going to meet up with Sadie in Saint Denis.
And getting the diagnosis. Hey, Carol.
Hello, Carol. So that's where I'm at playing wise. I don't think I'm really playing a whole lot else either. That pretty much just that's it. I don't get as much time to play games as I did in my younger days. But
Back in high school when we would come home from school and then play Halo 2 for...
Or even after the
4 or
first jobs
5
out of high
hours.
school, we'd work 8 hours, play Halo for 5 or 6 hours, and then
sleep 3 and go back to work.
Yeah, pretty much.
Rinse and repeat. And then we'd always talk about video games while we were working too. So,
Dude, if pro gaming was a thing then. Come on.
I'm telling you.
Come on,
I'm
man.
telling you.
With the hours and the shit we put in, man, that
We
would have
put in work.
yeah, it would have been something. So let's go ahead and dive into the news.
Okay.
So I want to cover this just so it's because it's going to affect potentially a lot of things, and it's the strike. So the Writers Guild is on strike. I'm mostly mentioning this because if this turns into a long, drawn-out, protracted strike, it could see movies and television grinding to a halt, which is a lot of what we talk about here. I don't, of course, value movies and television over people trying to get what they deserve pay-wise. I totally support them, but I do have to mention it because we're fans and nerds, and I just think that it's a good thing to talk about now because ultimately there's a lot of things that we may be waiting on that who knows what there's a level of uncertainty out of everything now because God knows how long this is going to go on.
And this affects existing shows as well as new things in production. On our other podcast that covers Stephen King stuff, we talked about a show called Welcome to Derry that's slated to come out. They just announced next year
and
in
then the
2024.
strike started, so God knows.
And then the strike started, so now it's just a big who knows what's going to happen.
Or Pennywise knows.
Pennywise probably knows.
Yeah, he probably knows.
He does.
So the studios knew this was coming, so they likely hoarded some scripts. So the impact might not be evident as early on.
If it goes long, though.
If it goes long, then it could get bad. The only other caveat to that, though, is there are some rumblings that some of the other unions may stand in solidarity with the writers' union. So if the directors or actors were to then join in, that would grind everything to a halt. So that hasn't happened just yet, but it could happen. So. Yeah. Just wanted to cover that because it's pretty much an asterisk behind everything else we're probably going to cover in the next short while. So
we'll keep an eye on it. Tad's actually doing really good at keeping me informed because I from our other podcast I keep my head in the sand.
Yeah,
I try not to see things, but some things do come across my plate and everything. But for the most part, I'm head in the sand guy.
Yeah. So the next bit of news, Warner Brothers hint that a game could be made to tie into Superman Legacy.
A Superman game, Tad?
So it's worth noting that Warner Brothers owns their own video game branch. I think they're probably the only movie studio that has that ability to
Warner Brother Gaming.
Or not that ability, but they're the only ones that have that luxury. For instance, I know Mortal Kombat, NetherRealm Studios belongs to Warner Brothers, as well as there's a number of them. So the villainous David Zaslav that said, I don't know if this is at CinemaCon or whatever, but he said that Hogwarts Legacy was so successful because it let people go into it, and he also said it was kind of a tweener, something between a movie and a video game. I don't know. Have you played that?
Not yet.
Okay. He then said that it's said as an example, the upcoming Superman movie that Warner Brothers is creating could potentially create a game where audiences could, quote, just hang out in the Superman world and universe and spend some more time there. So this isn't like an actual announcement. It's kind of a possibility of, and as a Superman fan, I, of course, am giddy at the thought process.
Warner Brothers Games is not necessarily the only studio, but they were a part of the Arkham games.
Yeah.
So the Arkham games, they have the new game Gotham Knights, Hogwarts Legacy you mentioned, and Mortal Kombat. Also a game called Back 4 Blood that came out last year. That was a somewhat success.
Injustice
is the two Injustice games. Also Shadows of Mordor. I did not know was a WB game.
Yeah, that makes sense because
makes sense. They own Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that's a titillating possibility.
Dude, a Superman game would be dope.
That'd be really fun. Yeah,
a real Superman game, not like the shit that was in the 90s. That
yeah, there's actually pretty widely regarded in Superman fandom that there's a Superman game curse. That there's never been a good Superman game, and every time there's been one, it's been pretty disastrously bad.
It existed for Batman too until the Arkham games.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of movie games. There's not a lot of good ones.
Is there? Yeah, that's the thing. Is like they're cheap cash grabs.
Yeah, they're basically they're marketing tools for the most part. So
check out the game.
Yeah. So next up, we have the creator behind Legion and Fargo. His name is Noah Hawley. Is apparently working on an Alien TV series.
Like Alien, like Xenomorph aliens?
Yes. So there's a
shit.
television series for this coming out.
Shit.
This is kind of news to me. I didn't know this was a thing. So apparently it's taking place before Ripley's time. In fact, it is centered on the end of this current century. So about 70 years from now is when it'll be set. It'll be set on Earth. which is interesting.
That's scary.
And yeah, then I got a quote here. It says, "It's a story that is set on Earth also. The alien stories are always trapped in a prison, trapped in a spaceship, and I thought it'd be interesting to open it up a bit so that the stakes of what happens if you can't contain it are more immediate." So if it takes place before Ripley, I think this has got to be throwing everything else out the window. Because timeline-wise, like, they didn't know what they were...
Yeah.
So there's no way that, like, aliens were on Earth. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm guessing this isn't going to...
Reboot?
Yeah, it's basically rebooting, which is fine. It will...
Aliens is due for one, let's be honest. Like,
yeah, I mean, they kind of had one a little bit.
Did they?
I mean, the Prometheus stuff.
I still haven't watched that.
But then that kind of started to, like, tie into almost being like a prequel. So it's... they're okay. That and Prometheus and Alien Covenant, I think they're worth a watch for sure.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
If nothing else, Michael Fassbender
Oh, Fassbender's awesome.
playing a cybernetic
Oh, does he play one of them?
organism.
Does he
Yes.
really?
Yeah. Named David. Yes.
I don't trust it. Already, I don't trust it.
Why?
They go-
Bishop's a happy
They go
lovable
crazy
creature.
and try to kill things.
I mean, Ash, yes.
Yeah.
But Bishop didn't.
Well, he did try to kill xenomorphs, which is still a thing. So, a good thing though.
So then it says it'll blend both the timeless horror of the first Alien film as well as the nonstop action of the second.
Yes.
It is going to be a scary thrill ride that will blow people back in their seats. And that is a quote from Mr. Noah Hawley. So, and
Cool.
I haven't watched either Legion or Fargo, but I do know from reputation that those are two of the better shows that have been on television recently.
I got to be
So,
honest. I don't know what Legion is. I know what Fargo is, and I've heard nothing but good things.
Same with
about it.
Legion. We had Legion brought up on our Dark Tower show.
Did it?
Somebody mentioned something for a dream casting, and
Oh.
they said that they were sure we hadn't seen Legion because neither of us were as excited about one of their castings. I think it was
Oh.
Susanna. So yeah,
Okay,
it was
that makes sense.
It was recommended to us there, as well as, like I said, I've heard nothing but good things about both those shows. So
Yeah.
it sounds like that's capable hands to put the old xenomorphs in the hands of.
Well, Fargo has like the slow burn, like the movie, anyways.
Yeah.
Has like the slow burn. It's not like action packed and stuff like that. So, but it also has like creepy scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
So, if the TV show's anything like it, and I've heard really good things about the TV show.
Yeah, I need to take a watch at both of them. But yeah,
Yeah.
that should be fun. We'll see what happens there. Next up, it is now official that Yellowstone will be done after this season. There's been a lot of rumor and speculation, but up until now it has not been official.
Mm-hmm.
But now, yes, Yellowstone is over. There is a second half of a season that still needs to be filmed and released, and that sounds like that will still happen.
Maybe.
But I mean, now you don't have writers, so
Yeah.
it's like I assume those episodes are already written. But we mentioned on the last show, though, a lot of times you have a writer on set that's going to do rewrites and stuff like that. So
Yeah, something's wrong with this scene. Rewrite it.
yeah, exactly. So without writers, I don't know. So they'll finish the season. They allegedly had it written already. The Matthew McConaughey spinoff has already been ordered at Paramount Plus because that was also in the talks that if they couldn't get what's his name,
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner to play ball, that they would just cancel this show and then do a new show with Matthew McConaughey. I don't know how that works, but
Is he going to be a young?
I don't know. I have no clue. But that's pretty notable because I do believe Yellowstone is the biggest show on television. I know it's the biggest.
It's one of them.
I know
yeah.
I know it is the biggest show on
Is it?
cable. On cable, and I don't think there's anything on network that actually rivals it right now. So the fact
How
that
do they see that? Like, do you just Google what is the biggest television show right now?
ratings based on ratings, yeah. So it's huge. So the fact that they're actually pulling the plug on it is pretty shocking to me. So we'll see.
Well,
what
I mean, if you
happens there.
can't get the main character to play ball,
Yeah, exactly. Too bad certain decisions weren't made in previous seasons when he was
it could have been.
could have been written off the show
Yeah.
fairly easily. And then next up, another Blair Witch Project movie is on the way.
Really?
I am not sure why they keep trying this one. They have had one of the most successful indie films of all time, and then two botched follow-ups in the last almost quarter century. So
I've never seen either one of those.
I've heard mixed things on the most recent one, but
The Blair Witch Project. I
yeah,
think is
whatever.
how they-
Yeah. But the second one that came out shortly after in like 2000,
Book of
just-
Shadows, Book of
no.
something,
no,
right?
No, it's one of the worst horror sequels I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen a lot of horror sequels, and there's a lot of bad horror sequels out there, sir. But that is far and away the worst. Yeah,
That's thunder.
yeah, as I'll say, it looked kind of creepy out there when I looked out the window between shows. We got
That's thunder.
so
oh my god.
we will warn you if we disappear. if there's a power outage.
Yeah, sorry.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, I looked out when I went down to refill my water thing. I looked out, like, God, that's some black sky out there.
Yeah,
So,
that was a big thunderclap.
yeah. Next up, this is an exciting one.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal has joined Ridley Scott's Gladiator 2.
Yes!
So my couple notes here. Is there anything he can't do?
No. That dude is starting to become the Gary Oldman for me.
Yeah. No word on the role he'll be playing. Also, no word on if he'll take his helmet off or not. I would advise him not to. I've seen how that ends. Also, I felt like I had to use Roman numerals for the title of Gladiator 2.
Thank you.
It just felt wrong to just type a number 2 because Roman numerals. It feels like Gladiator, if any movie, should have Roman numerals. So.
Well done, sir. Well done. Well done.
So Ridley Scott is directing it. It is Gladiator 2. I don't know how that's even a thing, but Ridley Scott was involved. I was interested, and now with Pedro signed up, I'm.
And Russell Crowe died, so it's not like he can be in it, right? It's a win-win for you.
Yeah, unless they cast Will Smith. Next up, we have an interesting one. Carl Urban is apparently in final talks to play Johnny Cage in the next Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh, cool! I like Carl Urban.
Yeah, so this is not official yet. It's not being reported by the most official channels. But there are some places saying he's in final negotiations.
Cool.
I'm pretty plugged into the MK community.
You love Mortal Kombat.
I do. Also, I have to point out that on my notes here, community is spelled with a K because
That's how it's done.
I am a self-respecting Mortal Kombat fan. So
Every C turns into a K.
indeed, and I was disappointed to see that many were saying that they think he's wrong for the part. They think that he's more of a Kano than a Johnny Cage. I could definitely see that.
Absolutely.
A Kano, for instance. Although I feel that it's only right if you only know him from The Boys. But if you look at everything from Lord of the Rings to Dredd to Star Trek to Thor, this guy is extremely versatile. And he may not be able to change his look, but he could basically change his acting in a way that has transformed him all over the board.
Yeah.
I have no qualms that he's not going to be able to play that pompous acting, just asshole.
Where do you get these guys? Kind of.
Yeah.
I'll be in my trailer.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. There's, and the thing is, I even Googled out to see if I could find some like dream casting of like, oh no, that would have been a better pick. I couldn't find much, man. Like there was people that had some names, but like
Pedro Pascal would do better.
Nothing jumped out at me where I was like, oh God, yes. They like, like say someone, they cast someone instead of Patrick Stewart for Xavier. And then you look and you go, wait, well, Patrick Stewart was right there. Like
he's right there.
There was none of those. So I'm like, I'm down. Like I said, Carl Urban's a fucking treasure. He is. Like I remember when they first cast him in Star Trek, I'm like, they cast him as fucking McCoy? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Bones.
Because I'm just thinking of him as like the dude from Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. And dude, he was so spot on in that I think he or Anton Yelkin were the absolute highlights of those newer movies.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And I think maybe he was my favorite. So
Carol says in the chat, he's just living his best life. Good for him. Talking about Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, he is. Have you watched the Nicolas Cage movie yet?
No, I don't have time. When am I going to watch it?
You've got to watch that.
Okay, that or Waco. Which one do you want me to watch tonight?
Now you got to watch the Nicolas Cage one with your wife. I'm sure she would enjoy it too.
I should say. Oh, but we watched Indiana Jones, so maybe next Friday we'll watch that.
Pedro playing the Nicolas Cage superfan.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly funny movie, dude.
I mean, I gotta watch it just for the meme.
Yeah,
alone.
exactly. Which is crazy how long it took that meme to come out too.
Yeah,
that was like months and months and months and months
later. That movie came out last summer. Didn't it?
Exactly. So it's crazy that, but no, it's great.
It's funny how memes sometimes are just like a year later. It's like
sometimes they're like immediate, and then other times that not. So then I have a little bit of bad news.
Don't say that. don't say that.
So Blade has halted production due to the writer's strike.
Good night, sweet prince.
So, rewrites on set are fairly common. So that could possibly be the reason.
That's also been going through some hell for that.
Yeah, there's been a number. I think just recently they hired a new writer on that because they've been doing a number of rewrites and stuff. So
yeah, didn't they throw like everything out the window because the main actor was like, "This is garbage."
Yeah, Mahershala Ali wasn't a fan of the first draft. I think there was a second draft. And now I think they're bringing someone in for even a further rework on things. So maybe
maybe a third draft.
Yeah, it could be a third draft. But either way, I'm guessing that probably didn't get all the way written before the strike. As well as the only other thing, I've also seen some stuff online that I've seen some writers tweeting that like even if they're filming, if someone's on set that's like union and like an actor's ad-libbing, that's considered writing as well. So that would be scabbing. And that isn't allowed. Like it has to be to the fucking script because an actor going off and doing their own thing, like they're technically now writing new material.
Yeah.
So, and again, they're not under the Writers Guild, but their guild should hold them to account of like, no, you can't, fill in the blanks for a union that's striking.
Carol says in the chat, after all this effort, I hope it's good.
Yeah, me too, man.
I hope this doesn't go through that development hell where all of a sudden it comes out and it's just like,
I think it already has.
I waited for all that.
Yeah, I think
we've seen movies like that where, I mean, we had it with The Dark Tower on our other show and everything like that. We waited all these years and all the failed attempts and all the production hell and everything like that for that.
Yeah,
that's what you give me.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been the biggest Blade fan. I know a lot of people are. I know that the Wesley Snipes movies turned a lot of people onto the character and stuff in the early or late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mahershala Ali, I mean, Academy Award-winning actor, an incredibly talented dude. So I hope that they can get it figured out. But I do think that this may be the first domino of many that we're going to see things grinding to a halt as things progress here.
Like we were talking about earlier. So
yeah. So yeah, that's all I got for news. So let's go ahead and jump on over to, I don't have the dun.
Hey.
Yeah, main topic, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 discussion. We will have a little bit of non-spoiler stuff up front. Then we will talk about, then we'll give a spoiler alert and talk about things a little bit more in depth. So
from here on out for the rest of the show, I'm just going to be speaking in Grootese. So I am Groot.
Grooties. Was it an elective?
I am Groot.
Oh man, I will. I might have to create some horrible things to torment you if you were to do such nonsense. All right, so
You're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole.
Carol says she hasn't seen it yet, so she'll be piecing out after the spoiler warning, and that's totally fine. We do fully understand that we are hitting some of these things early, but
yeah,
we
was this or wait 2 weeks till after it had come out.
Yeah, I will say though, I do want to see it again. I wish I was able to see it again before this, though.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I just feel like there's a lot going on in the movie that, like, and in general, a lot of movies are that way.
Yep.
Like, diving into something like, I don't know, it's always better sometimes if you could watch it a couple times, but no time for that. So let's go ahead and jump in. So the first film came out of nowhere in 2014, with the sequel coming out in 2017. In terms of on that, like, I mean, I was invested in the MCU enough to where I was like, I trust them with anything. Mm-hmm. So even when I remember when they announced it, I mean, the other thing with comics is there's a number of iterations of Guardians of the Galaxy, so nobody knew what version they were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember thinking, like, really, like this may be the first time that they're getting a stumble here, because it just felt like a really weird pick. 2014. You're just barely out of phase 1, so
it was shortly after Avengers too.
Yeah, Avengers was 2012, so there would have been a couple movies between there, but ultimately it was just I remember.
Well, that's back when we had one movie per year, right?
Ish. It depends on whatever, but yeah, 2014, that would have been the year before Age of Ultron. So I'm trying to think of what came between the two Avengers movies.
I'm pulling up a list right now. Between Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy, we had Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World, and Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So the big three each had a movie.
Okay, yeah.
So not a ton.
But ultimately, they hadn't taken the kind of risks that we're talking about here. I mean, we're obviously here in 2023 talking, and now we've got some pretty obscure characters that have been brought into it, whether it be on show or on movie.
Yeah.
So this doesn't feel like the kind of risk that it really was at the time.
Yeah.
But I remember just being like, you know what? They haven't done me wrong, so I'm just going to keep going until they do me wrong. And
when you're absolutely right. When you look at what had come out before Guardians of the Galaxy, you literally have 3 Iron Mans, 2 Thors, 2 Captain Americas, one Hulk movie.
Oh, that's a Hulk movie.
But was it in the MCU though?
Yeah.
Was it made by Marvel?
Yeah.
And
that was the first movie that was done by Marvel alone.
I don't know why, but I thought that was done by 20th Century Fox.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No. Universal.
And then you have one Avengers movie. So 3 for Iron Man, 2 for Thor, 2 for Captain America, 1 Hulk, and 1 Avengers movie, and then we get Guardians.
Yeah.
So they didn't take any risks whatsoever before this.
Not really. I mean,
they
Avengers is the biggest risk because that's the other thing too. Is it's so easy to look back now and just think like whatever. But dude, going into it, I was like so stressed for like that last 6 months going into Avengers. 'Cause I'm like, this could be an absolute fucking catastrophe. Like
you have Joss Whedon doing it.
These characters are all good, but nobody's ever done something like this before where you've got this massive crossover and stuff. So that wasn't even a given, but ultimately, yes, once you got past that, it's like, okay, they're not, we're good in it, man. They're going to be able to just knock this out of the park. And then they announced Guardians and it was like, what? But again, I was invested. So I did actually, go. I think you skipped out on it though, right?
I absolutely did. I remember the very first time I watched Guardians of the Galaxy, you actually brought your DVD Blu-ray copy over. And the three of us watched it, and it was that moment when I watched that, and I said, I will never miss another Marvel movie in theaters. I don't care what happens. It could be some of the worst movies I ever see, but I will never miss something this good in theaters again.
Yeah.
And I've never walked out of a Marvel theater going, yeah, I could have done without seeing that since. I haven't. There's been some that I'm like, that was
weren't
okay.
as good as others, yeah.
That was okay. I had fun, but that was okay. But Guardians it's a regret. I don't know why I didn't go see it. I don't know if there was just stuff going on in my life for whatever reason,
Yeah.
But it was just one of those ones, and it was shortly after that. I think a year or two after that, you pulled together the movie crew.
Yeah.
And we started, and now we have a crew.
Movie crew, assemble!
Movie crew, assemble! And now we have a crew of 5 to, well, it depends on the movie.
Yeah.
Between 4 and 8 people or so that go to movies. If it's a horror movie, Hayden's going. If it's a Marvel movie, Hayden's going. Me, my wife, and you. If it's certain Marvel movies, Caden comes. And then every now and then we'll have others join us, like outliers that are like, oh, you guys are going to see that? Yeah, I want to come. And it's like,
like my cousin for Halloween.
Yeah, your cousin for Halloween. We have a friend from high school who's talked about coming with us, but she just started school, so she can't join us recently.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're that's the whole reason is why that was created, was after Guardians. I'm like, never again.
Yeah.
I won't let this happen again. I can't miss this.
So what were you going into this one? What were your expectations based on the previous films?
I was going
and everything too, not just because they're not in a vacuum, right? Because these
Yeah.
characters have also shown up in Infinity War and some other
Endgame,
stuff. So
yeah.
it's like, but it has been a minute. I mean, 2017. So that's a long break between the second movie and the third movie here.
Yeah, they've had appearances in Infinity War, Endgame, and then Thor: Love and Thunder for 8 minutes,
Plus a Christmas special.
and a Christmas special, which was fantastic. You've watched that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Naturally, I had to.
Yeah.
I think I missed it for like the first week or so because it was just I forgot. I didn't realize when it came out. I thought it came out a little bit later, and then I was like, God, when does that come out? It's like saw that it had reviews and shit. I'm like, fuck, it's already out. So I went and jumped on and watched it pretty much the same day.
You're like, oh, well, I know what I'm doing the rest of the day.
Yeah, it was short too. It wasn't too long.
Yeah, it was great.
But yeah, what were your expectations going into this one here?
Honestly, I got to be perfectly honest. I kind of forgot about it. Like we had Ant-Man earlier this year, which was like the big hype because Kang was in it.
Yeah.
So that was on my radar way more than Guardians, and then Marvel's is that's November. We're not gonna. That's too far away.
Oh yeah, the Marvels.
The Marvels. I'm not gonna talk about that.
I'm super excited for that.
I'm super excited for it too. But
yeah,
I'm also to the point after this so many years of MCU that I'm excited, but I'm also not going to get giddy and like invested like I was with the Batman, because I get 2 or 3 of them a year, and I just can't build up the energy to get so excited over and over again every couple months,
Yeah.
So going into April, what I was honestly more excited for was Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Especially because my wife wanted to go.
That was a fun movie.
It was a fun movie. It was a great time.
Hayden may disagree.
Yeah, fun for the whole family. And everything.
Indeed.
As Tad likes to say for horror movies.
I mean, 5 years old. Kids 5
Just
or older.
because you started at 5 doesn't mean every 5-year-old
should. Look at me. I turned out fine.
That's debatable. That's debatable. But so yeah, I just kind of like, I was there. I was excited, but I wasn't like expecting much. I had one theory going in, which I will wait until we get into the spoilers to talk about.
My expectations have been all over the board because obviously the James Gunn firing all happened. He had basically turned in his first draft like right before literally like days before he got fired, and that whole thing happened. So I mean, this has been a roller coaster. I was fully intent on not watching it if James Gunn was not rehired.
Same.
I made that commitment. I've been, like I said, I'm a stout MCU fan. I've watched every movie in theaters opening day, dating back to Iron Man. So it's like, and I don't know why I watched Iron Man, to be honest, because it was just like, there wasn't expectations into that where it was just like, oh, Iron Man, that's kind of a B-rate horror or B-rate superhero. Like, I'll go see it though. And fucking Robert Downey Jr., that's a weird casting. And but ever since then, I'm like, I'm in this. This is fucking great.
Yeah. See, that was your moment to get into the MCU. Mine was after Guardians.
But for me, this one, if James Gunn wasn't involved, I wouldn't have watched this. Like, it would have been like literally, I would never watch it, even if it got like the absolute reviews to where it's like it's the best comic book movie ever made. I hold my standards, man, and I was especially if they were to take his script, not hire him back, and then try to film his script without him. That would have been a bridge too far for me to where I wouldn't have been my thing. So when he got brought back in, I've been pretty excited for this because the first two movies were pretty incredible. So I had pretty high expectations for this one. I think even going into this year, there different excitement levels for the three movies, but I think this was the main event. This is probably one of the top movies of the year for me, like expectation wise, just because the other ones were so good that it's like, I'm excited for Ant-Man, I'm excited for the Marvels, but no, it's Guardians. That's for me going in. It's like that's the definitive movie for the year of Marvel. So
I was just so excited for King. I think it's the reason why Ant-Man was over Guardians for me. Yeah, and with them being so close together. I mean, the very first week of May and towards the end of February, or was it into March? March.
I don't remember now.
Yeah, so the beginning of March and the first week of May. They're so close together that it was like you said, you had to pick one, kind of to get more excited for, since they're so close together.
Yeah.
I do want to correct one thing that both of us have said. We have not seen every single Marvel movie in theaters opening night since Iron Man and Guardians, like we said. There was the pandemic, unfortunately, that kept us from theaters for a couple movies. We didn't see Eternals in theaters.
It came out in theaters, didn't it?
I don't think we went.
I did. If it came out in theaters, I went.
Oh, I thought theaters were shut down when Eternals came out. I thought that was one of those straight to streaming service ones.
No, I thought I saw it in theaters. Because remember they tried to restart. When did Eternals come out? What year? Because remember they tried to restart even early.
If I remember right.
No.
Oh no, Black Widow was the one that was
straight to streaming.
Yeah. That was the one.
I mean, that doesn't count then. If it wasn't in theaters, it doesn't count.
Gotcha.
It doesn't count as missing. So,
but my wife says in the chat, Eternals wasn't the best.
I loved it for what it was. I don't know. Like, there's some minor gripes I had with it, but I love that they were trying something different. And it was pretty compelling with what it was. Like,
I liked the story, and I liked that Eternals got a shout out in Guardians. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, wait for the spoiler.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed Eternals, but I do know that some people weren't as into it. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. So
you were super excited for Guardians then?
Yeah, this is my. I mean, not for the overall year, because I mean you got things like Indiana Jones and stuff.
Sure.
And I don't know if I even really had like. I don't usually.
No, I meant for Marvel.
For Marvel for sure.
Marvel.
Yeah. It was.
Well, you gotta kind of pick. Like I said, you got 3 movies coming out a year now. You got to kind of pick which one you're like, all right, that's the one I'm really excited for. Because I don't know, maybe other people can, but I just can't be like super excited in February and super excited again in April and super excited again in October. I got other things I got to be excited for too. Like I got to admit right now, because Guardians is done and we have a break for Marvel, I got to be honest, I don't know what I'm more excited for. If I'm more excited for The Boogeyman or if I'm more excited for the Exorcist sequel.
Yeah.
Both of those look so good.
You do have Secret Invasion in a month.
Yeah, series, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited for that too.
Dude, I forgot about that.
I wondered if you did.
Shit.
Yeah, it's like in late June, so a little bit over a month.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sneaking up on us real quick there.
That looked good too, the trailer for that.
Yeah, it does. Also, I did read something that because there's been a lot of debate with Loki season 2, and the guy playing
Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, Jonathan Majors. It sounds like the last I read is Marvel's basically just like trying to monitor the situation as best possible, but they're probably just going to release Loki this year, as is, without any refilming. So hopefully that works out for him.
Hopefully it works out for him, and hopefully the correct decision is made regarding his issues that he's having.
Yeah. So now we're gonna talk some reaction stuff, but not spoilery, but just like kind of review type stuff. That's not whatever. So, so now that this is in place, where does this trilogy rank in the MCU for you?
Damn it, dude! You took one of my talking points. I said this to my wife after we left.
So Carol, Jonathan Majors, it's playing Kang, has some domestic abuse stuff that's hit the news in the last little bit. And Disney's monitoring it pretty close because there's a chance that he could be nixed and replaced. So
it's not good.
Yeah, it's not looking good. And I don't know, just not a lot else to say. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving pieces and stuff.
She said she forgot.
Yeah, he's obviously a big role in Loki, so there was a lot of debate within Disney apparently about whether they should delay Loki and wait for this to pan out to see whatever. But it sounds like the last thing I read is that Disney's basically saying we'll put it out, I think it's in October or September, something like that, and just kind of hope for the best that things don't go the wrong way and put him in a shitty spot. So where does it rank MCU wise trilogy? That's because ultimately now, because I think we've kind of, you and I off mic, we haven't really had this podcast long enough, but I think after every single time we've hit a third movie, we've kind of had that discussion. Like now that another trilogy is wrapped, we did it with Iron Man, we did it with Thor, we did it with Captain America, all these other ones. So kind of where do you think it ranks for overall trilogy?
Now I have to clarify one thing with trilogy. Avengers is excluded. It's not a trilogy.
Yeah, because you don't have a trilogy there.
It's 4 movies, and we're going to get a 5th and a 6th, so
yeah,
I can't count Avengers. So we're talking only trilogies.
Yeah.
It's number 2.
Number 2 under
Captain America.
Really? Okay.
Dude, as weak as Captain America, the first Avenger was...
Don't say that. That movie's great, man.
As weak compared to Winter Soldier and Civil War?
Oh, dude, doing the like the period piece and just like the vibe and style of that movie, I fucking love it.
I'm not saying I don't, but compared to Winter Soldier, Captain America: First Avenger doesn't hold its jockstrap. Winter Soldier is one of the greatest movies in the MCU. So
yeah, I love it though, man.
Tommy
Lee Jones. And stuff.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying.
I'm disagreeing that it's that much of a disparity.
When
I think
take Winter Soldier and compare it to the first Captain America, there is a gap. There is.
I think you're overstating the gap is all I'm saying.
Okay. I think Captain America is more solid between Civil War and Winter Soldier than the weakest of the Guardians for me is 2. And I think Guardians 2 is better than Captain America, the First Avenger. But
there's a lot of people that shit on that movie. That's like, I'm just somewhat defensive because I think people like throw it out very unfairly because I think that movie fucking rocks it, and like it fully embraces the style of kind of what they were going for. Like it didn't just play normal superhero stuff. The fact that they actually said it in World War II and like it was very I'm trying to think of the right word. Like the what Joe Johnson did with it stylistically, it felt very. It stands out from almost every other Marvel, even the other Captain America movies. It just it stands out in a weird,
it's way different
stylistic way, and I dig it.
It's like it was made for an older time.
And because Joe Johnson did The Rocketeer. Do you remember that when we were kids? Like it felt very Rocketeer-ish.
I never saw it, but I know that I've seen that trailer for The Rocketeer so many times.
But it felt like that in a way, probably because it's the same director. But like and so I think there's. It's kind of like the second Thor movie. I think there's just certain ones that people it's this kind of weak, and I don't know, man. I think that some people, and I'm not saying you are, but I think some people just like they hear something and then they just buy into it, and it's like, no, that's interesting though, because I actually would have guessed that you would have gone Spider-Man.
Oh shit!
When you said it was number 2, I'm like, okay, so Spider-Man's number 1, but I asked you out of just pure, like whatever. It's just to go through the motions. But.
Oh shit!
But
can you come back to me?
So I would say Captain America is a really strong trilogy, especially. I mean, and like you said, because for me the third one, dude, was the absolute fucking benchmark until Infinity War came out. Like that was just Winter Soldier is fucking incredible, but dude, Civil War, man, I have rewatched that movie, I think probably more than almost any MCU movie outside of an Avengers. Because I think the first Avengers I rewatched a shitload. Like that was just like
Civil War has 3 things going for it that no other MCU will ever have again. You have an introduction to one of the most important characters in the MCU in Black Panther.
Yeah.
You have Tony versus Cap.
Yeah.
Iron Man versus Captain America. That's never going to get topped.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
The introduction, and then the introduction of Spider-Man was my third thing. How did you know?
Yeah, just because
You psychic bitch. How did you know?
Because it's fucking Spider-Man in the
Yeah,
MCU.
Spider-Man, and the fact that they spoiled it. I mean, they had
dude.
to.
No, I still don't. I still think,
You think you keep that secret?
dude,
and-
if I'm Feige, I just tell Sony, dude, this is under so much wraps that if this leaks in any way, we're killing the whole thing, and this whole contract's void. Like it's done. We will not be involved. You guys can go fucking flounder with whatever you're going to continue doing.
go
in your
make
own way.
Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, like it's just because like I would have been that hardcore because like that would have been one of the biggest theater moments.
That would have been
I mean-
rivaling No, I Am Your Father.
Oh, exactly. It would have been.
It would have been the debate then between the two, but they did it in the trailer.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you're never going to see a trifecta
And-
like that
and
again
then-
in a Marvel movie.
Then you got that airport scene is incredible, and then everything from that airport scene through the rest of the movie is just fucking
perfect,
solid.
It's so perfect.
It's just so good, and so I rewatched, and I love Winter Soldier. I really do. I'm not trying to negate like lower that one anyway, but
You were such a fan of Winter Soldier until Civil War came out. It's
Yeah.
so interesting to see that.
And you know what? One of my favorite parts is I knew full well who the Winter Soldier was, but being
Yeah.
in theaters when you gasped when you realized who it was,
Yeah.
that was one of my
I had no clue
yeah, and
because I had never read any of those comics and everything like that. And so
Yeah.
when he takes off his mask and it's Bucky, and I'm just like, oh, I remember me gasping. I forgot
Yeah,
about that until you said that. That
that's-
triggers that memory.
That's one of my favorite moments.
Oh, Carol says, I think you gave a semi-spoiler warning, so thanks and see you all next time. Okay, one last thing. Winter Soldier is the GOAT. So
Yeah, we haven't hit the spoiler warning yet. I did want to talk about some kind of reviewy type things that would be non-spoilery.
Okay,
but
I've had some time to contemplate my choices.
it's like what's crazy is because for the longest time there was no good superhero trilogies.
I need your answer first before I give mine, because I'm second guessing myself.
but I'm just giving it context.
Yeah.
It's like ultimately, I mean, throughout history, you maybe you've had a couple good ones and then like a weaker third, or you've
Yeah.
had like, there's just been weak spots where like before the MCU, if I asked you to like come up with one like all time like great top to bottom trilogy, I don't know if you could have answered that like before the MCU, and now
Star Wars.
no superhero.
Oh, superhero?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, superhero.
Before the MCU?
'Cause
because Spider-Man has a really weak third one.
Yeah, because if you're
X-Men has a really weak third one.
'Cause
Blade has a weak second one.
because if you're talking all movies, you're talking Indiana Jones is also a great trilogy. I mean,
Yeah.
no, definitely not talking shit on
Back to the
trilogies in
Future.
general.
Back to the Future, top to bottom.
The third
Love
one,
all
the
three.
third
Dude,
one,
the
man.
third one is so good.
I don't know about that.
How dare you?
I don't know about that.
Anyways, my answer now, top 3. 1 is Spider-Man. 2 is Captain America. 3 is Guardians.
Okay. Again, I really wish I was able to see it again because it's one of those things where like a lot of times even on rewatch it kind of you're able to like it's not as much about the hype. But where I'm at right now, I think I put Guardians at 1.
Really?
I think it's the best trilogy that the MCU's done. I really do. It's just incredible. I mean, I haven't had a chance to rewatch the first two. I wanted to do that, but like just in my head, in the last little bit, thinking about all the stuff with Yondu in the second one. Like, you telling me that's not some of the best shit that they've accomplished?
Tell me
in
that's
the MCU?
not one of the most heartbreaking scenes ever. Is when he's
Yeah.
got Peter and he's trying to take off the suit and
and the
everything like
Ravager,
that.
the Ravager funeral at the end is just incredible. Like,
Yeah.
just there's so much going right with that second movie and then the first movie is just like it's easy to overlook, but it's like again that's the one that had to set the table, and
Yeah.
like, and it fucking did, man. That
I am Groot.
it's just so yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think just top to bottom, I think it does edge out even the Spider-Man movies for me. But
I love the 3 Spider-Man movies.
and I do,
so much,
I do
though.
too. And Captain America, same thing. I mean, I was just here arguing with you about the first Captain America. So I love it's not an easy choice for me, but
No.
I put this on my list. I'm like, I'm gonna have to answer it. So I've been kind of kicking it around in my head the last 48 hours or whatever. And yeah, I'm like, I will hold a caveat to say I'm going to go see it again, and I'll be interested to see when it's not just hype and whatever.
Thor has 4 movies.
4.
So it's not a trilogy anymore.
Yeah.
Iron Man has 3.
Captain America is going to soon to be in the next year or so. Is going to be.
Can we count that even though we get a new Captain America, or is that the second Captain America trilogy started with Anthony Mackie as Captain America instead of Steve?
It's a good question, but I don't know.
That's a debate we should say for a later date. Is this a continuation of the Captain America? Is this the 4th movie, or is this a new Captain America series? Because we have a new Captain America.
I'm intrigued by it because I think the other thing too is we also have to account for is Captain America. Those movies are the most critical movies in the MCU. The first one is the first Infinity Stone introduced. The second one destroys S.H.I.E.L.D. The third one, you've got the breaking up of the Avengers. You've got Spider-Man. You got Black Panther. You got Wakanda. Those are like cornerstone movies in the MCU. I remember telling people that after the second one, where I'm just like, holy shit, 2 movies now we've had like critical things happen.
Yeah.
So like going into the third one, I'm like, something big's going to happen in this movie because every time there's been like a big fucking ground shaking moment in the MCU. Most times it's been in Captain America. So
the Avengers breaking up is a huge thing.
That's massive. So
it's what honestly made it so that Thanos can invade.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If the Avengers were still together,
there's 2 things.
And still a team.
The other thing is Odin dying.
Yep.
Because it's very interesting that Thanos waited.
Is it Odin dying, or is it Asgard being destroyed?
I think Odin.
They happen in the same movie, so you can make an argument for either one.
Yeah, but Odin's he's a fucking G.
Yeah.
he can kick some ass. So
unfortunately, we never saw it.
No, we got some hints here and there.
And Odin, when are we going to get an Odin prequel?
When he showed up on his 6-legged horse to stop all the nonsense in the first movie.
He shows up and people fall down. It's not exactly a OG, a G moment.
Shows how much he's a fucking badass, though. Nobody.
But we're talking like we want to see it, not be.
Sometimes it's better to not see. Like the pencil in John
Sometimes
Wick.
It's
better to hear about the pencil. The second they tried to show it, it ruined the whole thing. So sometimes it's better just to hear about a badass, right? Like Hannibal Lecter, he's just as scary in that first scene, and all you've done is heard about him, and you've got the reputation. So sometimes that works. That's for me. I think it's 1, man. I this trilogy is just incredible, top to bottom.
I enjoyed the hell out of 3. I really did.
Yeah, indeed. And then I guess it's a bigger question, but what about trilogies in general? Or is that too big of a question? Because now you're talking multiple Star Wars trilogies, Indiana Jones.
I don't know if I can. Trilogy. I don't know if I can do that without more time to thought. I thought MCU because I had it down. My talking point was I was going to have us do a comparative versus Captain America. So I thought Captain America was a clear number 1. I cannot believe that I forgot Spidey. I mean, I'm literally sharing the same fucking name as the hero, for God's sakes.
Forgot about the Spider-Man.
But Spider-Man is not going to stay a trilogy, though.
No, and I think what it comes down to is how do you count it, though?
Yeah.
Because that is a very clearly defined trilogy. So when another movie comes out, that doesn't change the fact that...
See, that's how I feel about Captain America.
Like, does The Phantom Menace stop Star Wars from being a trilogy?
Yeah, see, that's what I feel about Captain America with oh my God.
So
why can I not think of Falcon's character's name?
What?
The Falcon, what is the guy's name?
Anthony Mackie?
No, not the actor, the character. Falcon is why can I not think of his name?
If you didn't ask me, I probably could have thought.
I know,
it,
right?
You put me on.
Oh my God.
Grumbling away there. God, I'm blanking, man. I'm trying to think through.
Okay.
The problem is,
Google work with me here. I typed in Falcon and pulled up a damn bird. Sam Wilson.
Yeah, Sam Wilson.
Good Lord, Peter. Come on. You know what? I deserve this. God, that is inexcusable to forget Sam Wilson's name. Gosh. But yeah, I think with it switching to Sam from Steve, I think it's clearly an end to a trilogy.
For me, it comes down to not even a change of character, but it comes down to like storyline.
Oh yeah,
like there's the original Star Wars trilogy will always be a trilogy, no matter how many fucking spinoffs or how many other trilogies exist.
Yeah.
Like that is a beginning, middle, and end. Lord of the Rings, kind of the same thing. The
Yeah.
Hobbits don't change the fact that that's a trilogy.
The same thing
I
with Star
think-
Wars.
I think the problem you get though is like something like Thor. I don't think that's a trilogy anymore
it's not
because
because
it's
it continues.
way too continuous there. That I don't think that.
But
one
Star
counts.
Wars, though, 4, 5, and 6 is a trilogy. 1, 2, and 3 is a trilogy. 7,
Yeah.
8, and 9 is a trilogy.
Yeah.
There are trilogies within the saga
Yeah,
because they're designed to tell one continuous story. 1, 2, and 3 is the fall of Skywalker.
yeah.
4, 5, and 6 is the rise of Skywalker. 7, 8, and 9 is the abomination of Skywalker.
So next up, so in general, I guess we didn't talk about. We talked about this as a trilogy, but what about just overall non-spoilerly? What are your what's your reaction to this movie? Like how where would you rank it in terms of 1 to 10?
It's easily a solid 9, possibly higher on a rewatch.
Yeah,
And that's the thing with our rankings as well. As I think we talked about it on this show, but we've also talked about it on our other show. Is that our rankings? They're fluid.
Oh, yeah.
They can go up and down. I could rewatch the Spider-Man movies and decide that or rewatch the Captain America movies and decide I like them better than Spider-Man. We're not one of those people that are like, this is what it is. This is what it is for all time. I said it. I'm going to stick by it because that's not how geekery works.
No.
You can become obsessed with
not
something.
not always.
Not always.
But Empire Strikes Back will always be the greatest Star Wars movie. of all
Dude, A New Hope is way better.
nonsense. Balderdash.
There's only one X-wing in all of Empire Strikes Back. Like,
That's what makes it so good.
no, it's terrible.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time with that piece of junk, the Millennium Falcon. That
Although Empire does have 3PO getting shot, so that is really good. I did enjoy that.
and R2 getting eaten.
And spit out. Wow!
Oh, and it has a Force Goblin.
Can't go wrong with Force Goblin.
And he's acting all crazy at the beginning. So yeah, like for me, god damn it, I really don't like it when I've only seen a movie once. Knee jerk reaction, I'd say like 8 out of 10, like which to me is considerable, right? Like that's
Yeah.
good. Like I reserve 10s for like all time great movies. 9s are like
Hard to come by.
hard to come by. Even 8s, like I'm somewhat protective. Like you get a lot of 6s and 7s from me. On
Yeah,
a lot of stuff,
a
'cause
lot of
it's just-
people. Yeah, a lot of people need to understand that when Tad says a movie is a 7, that's a good movie.
That's good. Yeah, there's a lot of movies
It
I
took-
really enjoy that are
it took-
7s.
It took a little bit for me to understand that with you.
yeah, and even like I think 5, like that's middle of the road. 6, like it's a little it's above average, and then 7 is where you're like you're good.
You're a
8's like
good movie.
it's a great movie.
Oh, it's a
9
great
is like
movie.
holy shit, like it's like fucking this close to perfect, and then
Yeah.
10 is just like
Yeah, and
those
I
movies
think-
I can throw on any moment
Yeah.
of any day and just watch and just fucking adore, top to bottom. That's
Civil War.
that's your 10s. So
Civil War.
for me, yeah, I would say 8 for this, and on rewatch, it could gain. I would suspect it would probably gain instead of lose if it were to change at all.
Yeah.
So, so in terms of interesting, because a lot of people have been talking recently about superhero fatigue since Endgame. That maybe whether it's superhero fatigue or whether it's just that after Endgame, none of the movies really feel special. How do you think that vibe checks out now in light of this movie? Because to me, this feels like a game changer a little bit. Because I've loved a lot. I don't think I've disliked anything since, but I have felt an element of like after Endgame, it's just like you're never going to top that, and it's just as much as I love No Way Home or Doctor Strange or whatever, it's just like. Also, there's not as clearly of a thing. Since 2012, we've had a clear indication that it was gonna culminate in like Thanos and in the Infinity War and the snap.
Yeah,
at least
when
for
we
me,
when we got Captain America: First Avenger and we saw the Infinity Stone, we're like, that's where we're going with this. Okay, I got you.
yeah. So, well, we didn't know that was a test.
Well, no, that's
it was a
true.
Tesseract.
That's
yeah.
true. It was a Tesseract. But
It was-
when
it was 2012.
in Avengers with the end credit scene that it's Thanos. It's like, oh, that's where we're going with this. I got it. Infinity
Yeah.
Saga.
So I think that kind of helps a little bit, and I think that's one of the bigger problems is it's been very unclear up until it's gotten a little bit more clear now, maybe
With
where
King.
we're going.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's like it just feels like there's something, and also you've lost some of your biggest stars and heroes, so it's like there's just something that it hasn't felt as good but not necessarily saying that the movies have been bad. To me, like, I don't believe in superhero fatigue. Like, I'm a fucking nerd.
We'll be there opening night until the MCU stops.
Yeah, exactly. But the idea that maybe things feel less special since Endgame, I can totally buy into that.
I get it.
But I will say that I think that might be out the window now, because
I think it might be out the minute window for this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be continuous going into the Marvels.
No, but what it's shown me though is that it is possible to get me as fucking hyped as I was for some of those movies in Phase 3, because this matches the movies that we saw in Phase 3.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Well, it's a closure for this probably should have been in Phase 3 if it wasn't for all the James Gunn bullshit that happened to him with him getting fired for ancient tweets.
Yeah.
Then, that's where it comes down to, is that this might have been in the end of Phase 3. This might have been at the beginning of Phase 4, but we had to get delayed. I mean, it's 2014 to 2017, and then 2017 to 2023.
I think it was planned to be after Infinity War and Endgame, though, originally.
It should have been right after. It could have been the end of Phase 3.
It probably would have been, like 2020.
Would it have been? I wonder if it would have been the one where Spider-Man's Far From Home, where that was kind of the bookend for Endgame. It's the movie that finished off the phase. I wonder if Guardians would have also been right there, because it would have been. It would have been a closure. It's an ending.
Yeah, but I think that it isn't as connected to like Tony. So I think Spider-Man is probably the best one because he's so connected to Tony. But I think that probably would have been the next movie after Spider-Man would have been Guardians. It closed out
the Guardians
because they're kind of in their own little
exactly
place, right? They're not.
We got a new Guardian set with Rocket and Groot and I forgot. We're not spoilers yet. Sorry, everyone.
But no, I think that's. So I think that's probably where it would have fallen. But then all the nonsense happened. But I don't know. I also did point out on social media not too long ago, isn't it funny how it worked out? Those people that wanted to get James Gunn fired, they technically got him fired.
Oh yeah.
But then he went over to DC. He's made an incredible movie and then an incredible series from what everyone's told. I haven't watched it yet.
Peacemaker.
And then now he's fucking in charge of DC movies. So like
he's gonna start making a DC universe now.
Yeah. So it's like, well, how'd that work out for you guys? Like, yeah, it must have sucked for him in that short term, but long term, he's come out smelling like a rose. So
and then he came back and finished Guardians.
And then was still able to come back and finish this.
Yeah.
So, I for me though, this completely changes the idea though that everything has just felt less, because I just felt like maybe it was just inherent that they were just that everything like phases 1, 2, and 3 were so special that you would just never be able to recapture it. Kind of the Star Wars original trilogy.
Sure.
What I accepted going to the prequels is it was never going to recapture my childhood of. I know I'm an adult now, so it's not the same kind of thing, but it's like it was kind of that thing where it's like phases 1, 2, and 3 was just its own fucking thing, and we're never going to be able to touch that again. Like they're gonna keep doing their thing and they'll build to some bigger stuff, but I just don't think we're ever gonna recapture that. It's gonna be something else that gets built, but it'll never capture what that. And I just think that like I maybe felt that the movies are just not that they wouldn't be as good, but it would just there'd be maybe a special sauce that just wasn't there. And I think this kind of killed that idea in my mind, because this movie was fucking great. Like this movie was, like I said, this felt like a movie as I was as hyped walking into this movie as I felt when I was walking out of like, what are some of the Phase 3 movies? Doctor Strange,
Spider-Man,
which is one I absolutely adored too. The first Doctor Strange was
the first
one of my favorites. Yeah, all that stuff in Phase 3, Black Panther, as well as the Avengers movies, which are obviously huge. But yeah, so it just kind of reset my brain in a way where I was just like, I almost just came to a conclusion of like, okay, Marvel's moving to a different phase. It's never going to feel the same as it did. And this makes me like, dude, even if it doesn't feel like the same way it did, this was fucking incredible. Like, just it stands so far above everything else we've had. And that's not to talk shit on the other movies, because I have enjoyed a lot of what we've seen since Endgame. But God, this movie it felt special to me.
Yeah.
So. And then let's see, another non-spoiler, last one I have here, non-spoiler question. Where does this film rank with the rest of the trilogy?
It's the best one.
Yeah,
I'll say that over the first Guardians as well.
That's
and that I know that was a debate when we came out of the theater, and one of our friends was like, "No, the first one's just like iconic and everything." But I had more fun.
Yeah,
I had more fun. It's better made. It has better.
You've seen James Gunn has grown as a filmmaker. Like I think he was. There was like a competency, and I'm not saying he was incompetent previously, but he has grown as a filmmaker in a way to where there's just some masterful like shots. There was some masterful camera movements stuff where I was just
characters, the characters is what does it, and I don't want to talk about it until we get into the spoiler section, but I have notes about it. But the characters, James Gunn made these characters what they are, and he was allowed to finish, and he finished.
yeah, incredible.
When they're able to give it that shot to finish and everything like that, and I think that's where some of the other trilogies have struggled, is that it's not a clear finish. Captain America's trilogy didn't finish in Captain America's movies.
Yeah, no, it was Endgame.
Iron Man movies did not finish with Iron Man.
Yeah, Endgame.
Thor's movies have not finished.
Still haven't finished. Yeah,
Ant-Man's haven't finished. Spider-Man's haven't finished.
yeah.
This is our first finish in a trilogy.
That
the
feels more
third movie
closed.
feels like a closure.
Yeah.
And I think that's important because it's also important what happens with the characters, the character development, the character arcs, and everything like that.
Yeah.
Because that's what's good storytelling. And I think that this one is the only one in the MCU that's done it. Trilogy-wise, and again, that's not a knock on the Captain America and the Spider-Man trilogies and Iron Man trilogies and all that stuff. They had other movies to finish in. They were a part of a bigger story. The Guardians were a part of that story, but they were above that to finish their story.
Yeah, yeah. And then what about the where does it fit in the overall MCU? Do you think? It's not like we're ranking them all, but like top
That
echelon.
would be a tough task.
Is it top
tier?
Top tier.
This is top tier stuff. This is up there with Endgame.
That's what we need to do at some point. Is one of those
Tier.
things where it's what is it, S and then ABC.
Yeah. You can customize them. So.
Yeah, we need to do one of those for MCU.
I think they have one.
No, there is. There's places you can just go and
Yeah.
whatever. We need to do that.
Should we do one and post it on our socials?
Do we want to talk about it though? That's the problem. At some point,
We could.
I mean, this is far from the last MCU conversation we're gonna have. So,
Oh no, we're done with the MCU after this.
all right, that's all I got for non-spoilers. What about you?
Oh no, everything with my stuff is spoilers. I didn't know we were going to have a non-spoiler section.
Warning, spoilers ahead. Warning, spoilers ahead. Warning, spoilers ahead.
Spoilers.
So now we're in the full-on spoiler section. I don't really have a thing on the screen. I've thought about seeing about maybe building something to like pop like lights on the screen or something, like little like cop lights,
Little sirens.
siren,
little
yeah.
lights.
little things to pop
Okay.
in there. But yeah, I didn't have time to do that. I had a thought about it, but I hadn't had a chance to actually implement it yet. But we are now in the spoiler section, podcast wise or YouTube wise. That is where we're at, which is right. We're we're all over the hour mark, so
Yep.
gives us time to go through. So,
You want to go first?
let's. I mean, I've got some notes, but let's just
go.
Let's just talk about it, man.
Dude, this was one of the most violent movies in the MCU.
You could tell James Gunn was a horror guy.
He was out to traumatize people in this one. So funny story I'm going to tell on the podcast that I already told Tad this, so I apologize. You have to hear it again.
No, I figured that. Yeah.
My parents usually watch my daughter when my wife and I tag along with Tad to go see movies. And when we went to go see Evil Dead, she's like, "Oh, is this Guardians?" I'm like, "No, that's in a couple weeks." And she goes, "I want to see that." And I'm like, "You want to see a Marvel movie?" And she's like, "Yeah, I really like the Guardians movies." And I'm like, "I'll take you for Mother's Day." Like, that was going to be my Mother's Day gift to my mom this year. I was like, "I'll take you to a movie, just me and you. We'll just go to a movie."
Yeah.
On like a Friday or Saturday, because she's very religious. She wants to go to church on Sundays and everything like that. I'm like, we'll go on a Friday night or a Saturday. A couple weeks after it's come out, she'll get the opening weekends, plural, like a couple weeks after, because
Yeah.
Mother's Day is not until a week from tomorrow. After seeing that movie, I am not taking my mother to that. I saw her yesterday, and I said, she's like, "How was the movie?" I mean, she was over at my place watching. My daughter was in bed when we got home, because we got a little bit later start to the show,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But she was over. She's like, "How was the movie?" I'm like, "You're not seeing that movie." She goes, "Why?" I'm like, "You would be offended." And she's like, "Do they swear?" And I'm like, "No, it's so violent." And she goes,
I mean, yes, they do.
she goes, "Really?" And I'm
We
like,
got our first F-bomb.
I'm like, yeah, and we do have to talk about that. The first F-bomb in all of Guardians, and
No, and all the MCU.
all of the MCU. Sorry,
We've had,
that's what I meant to say. MCU.
we have some teases towards an F-bomb.
Spider-Man. What the credits?
And then Nick, when he's getting dusted.
mother. dust.
Yeah. So there's been a few like allusions, but
I gotta shout out my wife right now. We were leaving my parents' house yesterday, and she made a wonderful Guardians joke. We went to go get in the car, which has, obviously a fob and a keyless remote and everything like that. And she's like, well, now what do I do? And I went, open the fucking door. And she laughed her ass off at everything. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be a running joke with us. Maybe she should just stand there and be like, what do I do now?
I'm trying to think of where to start, man. It's just I mean, we already kind of have dived in.
Yeah.
But violence, a lot of violence.
We had bones breaking. We had people bleeding. We had a face ripped off.
A degloving of the face.
A degloving of the face. Gomorrah just...
And Hayden was a joy to sit next
to,
man.
And he didn't see it coming because it's a Marvel movie. He expects it from Halloween or Evil Dead or Scream or The Exorcist or something like that, but not from Guardians. It shouldn't be from Guardians.
Yeah.
And it was. I have to tell this story. So, the face gets ripped off. Hayden reacts. Who's sitting next to Tad? It goes Hayden, Tad, Caden, me, Lydia, and Hayden reacts. Tad laughs. Caden laughs. Peter laughs. Lydia laughs. Rest of the theater in shock that there's 5 psychopaths laughing, 4 psychopaths and 1 retching, laughing/retching at this guy getting his face ripped off. And then the guy talks with no face.
Yeah.
And you just hear Hayden,
It was great. He was squirming and squealing. I mean, there's
Did he shrink?
No, he got the folded arms going.
He got the folded arms.
with like the arm breakage, and there's you could definitely tell that James Gunn came from a horror background.
He was out to get us.
So I have to shout out Cosmo finally getting a bigger role.
Cosmo had like lines. Take that back.
Yeah,
that was so funny.
Oh, dude, Hayden was bummed by that too.
Oh, don't call the dog a bad dog.
Calling her a bad dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I loved. I was like, that's amazing.
We had a Howard the Duck cameo.
Yeah, Howard showed up again. So, big question here. Is the High Evolutionary the most dastardly villain in the MCU?
I mean, he wasn't trying to eradicate half of all life, so no.
He's worse than Thanos. Absolutely.
You think so?
Oh, dude, he's building up and then wiping out planets just because they're not perfect.
Yeah.
Thanos is at least trying to achieve a good goal.
In his mind.
Yeah.
By wiping out half of all life. See, now the problem I have with that is that most people go, oh, all life, people. No. All life. He wiped out dogs. He wiped out cats. He wiped out little cute ducklings. He wiped out bears. He wiped out penguins.
All beast type animals.
Everything. Half of it.
Yeah.
Just poof, gone.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hi, number 2.
No
Number
way,
2.
man. He is.
Yeah, but you don't
worse.
think Thanos did anything wrong, so you can't be you can't be trusted with this conversation.
No, Thanos. He's got an argument. This guy was just like, no, it's not perfect, so let's just fucking destroy everything. And then all the animal torture, dude, they're not even close. He so far supersedes, and I know you're trying to make it like calculable. It's not that. It just comes down to
emotional is definitely him.
Yeah,
he's just vile.
He is the
despicable being.
Yeah, like we're talking like, and I know this goes to the other show a little bit. This is like Mrs. Carmody Rhea type level of fucking just obscenely. You just, I don't think I don't think as many people had bloodlust for Thanos as they did at the end of this movie for this guy.
No, because he was. See, that's the thing is that there is a bloodlust there. Like, go see how Thor reacts when Thanos is killing people.
But the audience.
But you don't see a lot of it.
But I don't think the audience is sitting there grating their teeth just like, I want to see this fucker die. Like, whereas this guy, dude.
It all comes down to the marketing for them. You know, there's a whole subreddit dedicated to Thanos did nothing wrong. So,
but again, I think with Thanos, at least, even if you want to spin it as it's in his mind, but he's trying to basically save the universe, whereas this guy is just like
that's what this guy was trying to do.
No, he's just trying to
make the perfect race.
Yeah, so eugenics.
Yeah, so he's trying to be the perfect. Yeah, dude. Also, let's take it with a grain of salt here that eugenics and genocide kind of go hand in hand, sir.
I don't know if it's genocide.
It's
that's a
genocide. Literally wiping out half of all life is not genocide.
No, because genocide is like targeted at a singular group. He's
Half of all life.
which means that it's not targeted.
Trillions.
Yeah, which means it's not targeted. Just because it's a big group doesn't make it genocide. He's not sitting there going, "I want to wipe out all fucking humans," because that would be genocide. Just targeting humans, saying, "Just wipe them all out." Like that's genocide.
So it has to be targeted to be genocide.
Isn't that the definition of genocide? Is going after a group because of their race or religion or creed or what? Just that kind of thing. It's not just killing a shitload of people. Like that's so no. But this guy, he's just I couldn't imagine. I couldn't believe it. I was actually in shock in the movie at a certain point.
He was
where
vile.
I was just like, dude, they've outdone Thanos. This guy with one fucking movie. This guy he's more like, I just think long term, we're all going to look at this as the most fucking villainous person in the MCU. It's just, he's despicable.
Yeah.
Like it's just, and then you get then you add the animal torture on top of the fact, because like, I think early on it's like, okay, he's got the animal torture, so you're just like, oh my God, like this guy sucks. But then when you get to the end and he's basically blowing that planet up, like.
Yeah, it gets to a point where it's not just, it's, dude, you're starting to convert me.
He's fucking bad, dude. I've been that's almost like that's probably the primary thing I've been thinking about since watching it, because I'm just like,
it's dark.
It's fucking bad, man. Then like again, then you also have the built-in real-world element of eugenics and where that's all been throughout fucking pop culture. Eugenics is not a good thing. Like like Star Trek, eugenics is what wipes out the fucking Earth and sets it up for like, because it's like almost post-apocalyptic when we send the thing out to do light speed and first contact and all that. Like the world gets destroyed by the Third World War. That's from eugenics. So like eugenics is like,
oh wow,
it's like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like Khan is like a eugenics guy that starts the last World War that leaves everything in fucking ruin, and then from that's when Zefram Cochrane builds the thing, does light speed, connects to and then the whole thing starts to build up to like Starfleet. Yeah, there's like a decimation of everything that happens before that.
Have to go back down to build up.
Exactly, and it's fucking eugenics. Like so throughout, you never see like good eugenics in anything, like whether it be real world or whether it be like
there's
culture.
There's lots of bad eugenics. There's
just
no good.
Yeah, it's not. So yeah, it's crazy because I knew you'd throw back at Thanos, but I'm like, dude, when you think about it, man, I'm not even. It's not even that, like me trying to be me and like defend Thanos. No, it's just like that. At least in Thanos' mind, like he's trying to do it in what he thinks is for a positive reason. Limited resources. Everyone's gonna fucking die like they did on my planet. The only way to stop it is to reduce things down to where there's more for people.
I mean, you say that, but this guy has the same thing. Oh, I'm trying to save the universe by making the perfect race. He has the irrational thought in his mind that he's doing right.
He says that, but there is no actual element there. For him, it's just about perfection and like what is Rocket's line? Like it was never about like liking what he was. It was more about hating things as they were. Like that it is. Like for him, the root of it all is just he's a spiteful, disgusting human being that doesn't like the way things are. Or not
I think
human
it's
being,
really
but,
mad when Rocket is better than him.
Yeah, so it's just like he cages it up in like saving the universe or making it better. Whatever. It's not. The dude's just a fucking. He's Mangala. Like it's bad. It's yeah. I don't know. I was shocked because like in one fucking movie, like how many movies did Thanos have to like build up to where we got to where we were? Yeah. This guy comes in one fucking movie and you're just like, dude, fuck off.
Yeah, when he got his ass kicked by the Guardians, it was very, very satisfying.
Yeah, it was chef's kiss, right?
Yeah.
And it just, I mean,
they built up a good villain. They really did
in one movie. It was incredible job. And I think that's where you get like the face rip and stuff. Is like you couldn't do that to just an average villain. Mm-hmm. You couldn't have done that to. Well, I don't want to use Black Panther because I don't think he's as villainous in the grand scheme of things. I'm trying to think of some of the other villains.
Black Panther.
Yeah, the what's his name? Michael B. Jordan's character.
Killmonger.
Yeah, like you can't really compare him in the same way because like I'm trying to think of like just someone that's villainous enough. Because I don't think like
Claw,
you wouldn't. Yeah, like you wouldn't see Claw face ripped. You couldn't do that.
No.
Like he doesn't. It's like the whole like earned thing. Because like Jurassic World, right? There's still the thing that people bitch about with the fucking babysitter lady that gets grabbed up and
what the hell
like,
did she do?
What did she do to deserve that death? Like there needs to be kind of an earned element, and I just don't think there's another MCU villain for the most part, that you're like, yeah, let's see this dude's face fucking ripped off, and then have him sit there and talk to the heroes through a fucking Two-Face pizza fucking cheese removed face. Like,
Good Lord.
it just. But when I saw that scene happening, like Hayden's fucking retching, but in my mind, I'm like, he's fucking earned this. Like,
good.
Nobody, nobody is gonna sit here and say that this is like, oh my god, this is so out of the fucking realm of like the Jurassic World example. Like nobody's gonna like, people are still bitching about that today. Nobody's gonna be bitching. I don't think I've seen it online yet. Nobody's been bitching about, oh my god, I can't believe they did. Like maybe in the element of like it's a little bit gory, but nobody's like, oh my god, I can't believe they did that to that character. Like, nah.
What did he do to deserve that? Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so insane. I mean, but he checked all the boxes, right?
Yeah.
World destroyer, animal torturer, just his attitude towards like his people, the way he like everything about it. Just felt like every turn, like there was never a time where they're like, well, there's a way we can kind of soften him a little bit. Every time it was like soft or hard. They were going fucking hard every single time.
Every single time.
There was nothing redeemable about the dude.
Yeah.
He was just.
That is definitely one of the very few irredeemable characters in cinema.
But
there's a few.
Yeah.
But they're far like you
and
said.
the actor,
yeah.
oh my god, he did a great job.
Yeah, he did.
He fucking killed it, dude.
Yeah.
I don't have his name in front of me, but yeah,
Woody Iwuji.
he did incredible, dude. I'm
I'm sorry if I said that wrong.
I don't know if I've seen him in it much else, but he did a great job. What do you got notes wise? Anything? I've got a bunch here, but
I only got
around.
I got two real big ones, and then I had a couple that were we already covered with our
that's
our
fine.
pre and everything. The best thing about this movie for me, aside from just how good it was, I feel like every single Guardian got a chance to shine.
Yeah, and they got their ending too.
In not only a chance to shine, but they also got their ending.
Yeah.
And everything got wrapped up with a bow. I kind of botched this a little bit earlier and mentioned it. Rocket and Groot are in the new Guardians. Nebula and Drax are mother and father to Nowhere. Peter's back on Earth.
Which Drax, it's huge because wife and kid is who he lost, right? So
Right.
like it kind of gives him that closure of like.
Yes.
So I like that a lot.
And then Mantis is going off to find herself because she's never done what she wanted. She went straight from Ego to the Guardians.
Yeah.
But the big thing for me with this one also is that I feel like Drax maybe has been a little bit shit on the last two movies, plus into Infinity War and Endgame, where he's just a big dumb oaf and he brings nothing. He fucks up in the first Guardians and calls Ronan. In the second one, he's basically worthless. He doesn't really do anything. He thinks he's going to help out by jumping into the beast at the beginning. He insults the Sovereign, even though Peter gave him the warning not. Jumps out of the back of the... Like, he seems like the big dumb oaf in the comic relief. But in this one, we actually get a sense of who Drax really is.
Yeah.
And we get that closure, like you said, that he's a father.
Yeah.
He's meant to take care of kids. He's not Drax the Destroyer.
Yeah. And he's the only one that really knows himself.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this movie, or at the beginning of, even throughout the trilogy,
Yeah.
every other member of the Guardians, they've got their issues. They don't fully, and I think by the end of this is where you kind of see them all kind of come to that realization of where they need to be as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Drax had that all along. He
Yeah.
didn't need to evolve because which almost puts
That's
him
who he was.
It puts him above the rest of the characters in a way to where
Yeah.
it's like he already fucking knew who he was. Like, so he's a little
They
bit.
just didn't bother to find out what he was.
Yeah, so it's almost more of an indictment on them. So
Which is what the line is with Nebula. It's like, you didn't ask me.
yeah, did you see the Feige thing where he said that he thinks that Dave Bautista may be the best actor that they've had in the MCU?
I think he is phenomenal.
But Kevin Feige said that, which would throw
I've-
every other person under Dave Bautista's performance and say that he was the best, which is incredible. But I can't disagree.
I think that if you look at what Drax's character is at the end of Guardians 3, where you find out that he is not just some big dumb oaf, that's just how they've been treating him,
Yeah,
that you realize, oh my God, he's played this way for 3 plus movies. I mean, he's in
yeah.
6 movies.
Infinity War, Endgame, Christmas special. Yeah.
All of that. And it's just, it's a phenomenal performance from Dave Bautista, top to bottom.
Yeah, incredible. I can't necessarily say it with the same confidence
Dude.
that Feige would say that, but I could see,
I could see him being top 5 without even thinking about the others.
like, I guess I wouldn't like boo Feige if I were in the room with him. If he
Yeah.
had said because if he said the wrong thing, it was
would've
like,
been
boo, come on, man, bullshit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have that reaction. I'd be like,
I think that if he says
Okay.
it, yeah, it's the he might be onto something. Yeah, he might be onto something.
Yeah, he's-
I gotta think about that. That kind of thing. It makes you think, dude. I realize there's a callback to the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, where Drax is kind of a father figure. It's when Ronan's defeated and he comforts Rocket by petting him.
yeah,
No one else is over there comforting Rocket.
yeah,
Where's Peter? Where's Gamora? Where's anyone else?
anyone, yeah,
No one's there but Drax.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's great, man.
because he knows what someone's going. He knows what that's like. He lost his wife and his daughter, and everything. So I think that I think that's a callback. I think that's a good little nugget there to remember is that's, and they show it in the end credits too. They
Yeah.
show a shot of that, and it's like see, it was there all along.
Yeah.
If that's the case, if Gunn wrote that in from the start, and if you go back and watch Guardians 1, Guardians 2, Infinity War, Endgame, and everything like that, and you actually pay attention to Drax, and you find out that he's been kind of fathering everyone this whole time, holy shit, dude.
Yeah,
Holy shit, dude. And even also with the Peter stuff, when he tries to talk to Peter and he just quotes what Mantis says, isn't that like a father? He doesn't know how to talk to his son,
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah,
He can talk to people like little kids, but how do you talk to a teenager or an adult child,
Yeah.
offspring? How do you talk to them and make them understand that you care and that you're there for them? Hell, he even does a little line with Peter is in the second one where you're a dancer, she's not.
yeah,
He's warning him about Gamora.
yeah.
That's a fatherly kind of a bit of advice, isn't
Yeah, yeah, indeed. I mean, we also have to mention the other star of the show, Rocket.
it? Dude.
It was his movie, right?
Dude.
So I want to throw out. I have two sound bites
Okay.
from Mr. Rocket. Now taking them in light of what we now know of his backstory.
He thinks I'm some stupid thing. He does. Well, I didn't ask to get made. I didn't ask to be torn apart and put back together over and over and turned into some little monster.
Rocket, no one's calling you a monster.
He called me vermin. She called me rodent.
That hits a lot harder now. After seeing what Rocket went through with Lila and Teef and Floor and everything like that,
Yeah.
that hits so much harder now.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then Lydia said it was Rocket's movie for sure, and I think that was always Gunn's intention.
Yeah.
I think I even heard him speak in previous movies where he's just like, at some point we're gonna get to Rocket's backstory.
Yeah.
It's a matter of when, not if. Type
I'd say the thing
so.
is, I still knew nothing. He says that he's an experiment he's taken apart and put back together. Literally, what he says is what I know about his backstory. So this movie opened my eyes, and that is so. Is it the most tragic backstory in the MCU?
It might be, man.
Dude, name one worse. Oh, you lost your uncle? Great. This guy was tortured and watched his friends die
well,
in front of him.
maybe not Origins. I would say outside of Origins, Thor's whole run there of losing everyone in the
no.
course of a week.
Origins. Origins.
Another one here.
What are you laughing at me for?
You can fool yourself and everyone else, but you can't fool me. I know who you are. You don't know anything about me, loser. I know everything about you. I know you play like you're the meanest and the hardest, but actually you're the most scared of all.
Shut up.
I know you steal batteries you don't need, and you push away anyone who's willing to put up with you, because just a little bit of love reminds you how big and empty that hole inside you actually is.
I said shut up.
I know them scientists what made you never gave a rat's ass about you.
I'm serious, dude.
Just like my own damn parents who sold me, your own little baby, into slavery. I know who you are, boy, because you're me.
Damn.
That line was echoing in my head as I was watching the movie. Not that I knew the whole line, but
Yeah.
I remembered the Yondu kind of dressing him down a little bit, and I was
Yeah.
like, it's a whole lot different now with the context of
You know,
his
yeah,
backstory.
you know another one that hits harder? Go watch Infinity War again and listen to him talk to Thor about losing everything.
Yeah.
I bet you that hits really hard.
I didn't think about that one. I was mostly thinking in like kind of in the gun realm for sure.
You're kind of just like, Rocket, dude, like ease up off of the guy and everything. And then you realize that Rocket's had a stretch like Thor had.
Yeah.
Arguably worse, considering he was tortured and where he thought he was going. He thought he was going to paradise, man.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that. Imagine someone your whole life teaching you about paradise and or heaven or someplace like that. So beautiful and so wonderful, and it's going to be perfect and everything like that. You help them achieve it.
Yeah.
You think. And then he explains, the person making it, you're not worthy.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. And then right after that, your only three friends are gunned down in front of you.
The way that was played out, that whole scene. Oh man. Again, it's him again.
So we had we knew going into this that we were going to cry. That scene,
I asked you.
That scene destroyed me and my wife. We both bawled over that.
Really?
Quietly cried. I know you weren't sitting next to me, so you didn't see it and everything like
Yeah.
that. That scene killed us.
Yeah.
It was so bad, and she can vouch for it in the chat and everything like that. Both of us during that whole scene.
Well, what about the first word? Hurts.
Hurts. Oh,
Little baby Rocket. Like,
oh,
that's dude. Just it's totally the emotional heart of the whole movie for sure.
It's going to change how I rewatch Guardians 1 and 2 now.
Yeah.
And Infinity War and Endgame.
And
especially the stuff with Thor.
Like special effects wise, dude, have you I think I mean, the only thing I can think of even close is the Caesar in the Apes movies. But have we had another computer effects animal that has been done as well as Rocket? And I know they did a shitload of time and effort, because I remember in the first movie there was all those behind the scenes of they got a real raccoon, and they watched it and recorded it for hours to get everything, like how does it blink, how does it move its head, when
it smells something, what does its nose do?
How does the nose move?
The tail and everything.
All of that carried through the whole thing for sure. But it's just to then in this movie be able to convey because I think they did good showing him show emotion throughout the trilogy, throughout all of his appearances, because there's more than just his trilogy, right? But this movie, it was next level, and this whole movie was going to live or die on him. Because if that fell short in some way, and it the emotion wasn't there, and I know we already had a pretty good idea that they were going to be able to pull Rocket off, but if they stumbled somehow and Rocket just wasn't perfect, this movie would have fallen apart.
It would have.
It was the whole spine of the movie was Rocket. So,
I have two more things, and then I'm going to let you have the rest of the time to do yours. Real fast, I think Karen Gillan is a phenomenal actress, and I'm going to say it right now, and you're going to probably boo and hiss me like you were talking about with Feige. I think Nebula has the greatest character arc in all of the MCU. Fuck everyone else. Nebula's arc across everything that she went through is probably the greatest character arc in the MCU. For me.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man.
Give it some thought and everything like that, but that's
I think the hard part is so, I mean, there's a little bit more time given, but Captain America and Tony, both their arcs, the way that they actually, I always love going back and watching clips, and I've got the clip of the first Avengers. It's you're never the man to make the sacrifice play. If you have to lay on the wire for your troops to get over, I'll just cut the wire. Just
see. I don't know.
Things like that.
I don't know if I can count that as a character arc. I think that's Steve and Tony misreading each other. Because
it's the arc.
Tony absolutely sacrifices himself at the end of that movie. That's what arc?
Well, I mean that's
the same movie.
Well, that's the arc of that movie, though.
Right, but that's that movie. We still have Iron Man 3, Captain America: Civil War, Infinity Game, and Endgame with Tony after that. That is more of the arc. I'm talking character arc across all of their movies, everything, and that's what I'm talking about. I think Nebula is the greatest character arc in the entire MCU.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think that, and then the Captain America as well. Finally going back to be with, to give up the hero game for the love interest is huge. But with Tony, I mean, that's just somewhat encapsulated in Avengers, but that's what Whedon was doing, right? Is the character arc during that movie. But ultimately, it's it's so much greater to actually be at the sacrifice of for the universe. He actually gives his life. After you add on the fact of not only the wife but the kid, there's so much more for him to lose versus the guy we saw in the first Iron Man or even the second one when he's fucking pissing in the suit and shit. that's a whole different. The transformation they had with him was pretty well done. But again, he has so much more real estate, right?
He does.
He's got a whole trilogy.
And I'm challenging you to go look at Nebulas.
No, I'm not.
You're
I'm not.
You're looking at others right now. Go look at Nebulas.
No, I know. Yeah, it's one of my notes is just how just in general the character was great. Where she ended up was incredible. One of my favorite things is her crying when she hears Rocket, because they were the only two not snapped. So those two would have actually been close.
They formed a really good bond. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, there's no, and I'm not. I'm just saying that, like, I don't know. The Tony Stark one that's up there for all movies for me, because again, he has a lot more real estate. Like Luke Skywalker doesn't have that kind of real estate, so it's hard to really compare them. Because
I think the problem with Tony for me is his arc's done at Avengers.
No.
Yeah, he's ready to make the sacrifice in Avengers. It shows it. After that, he has PTSD from it. After that, he's ready to make the play to save the Earth. He wants a robot in every city, kind of thing. I want to prevent this, but his arc is the same.
No, but I think it's the arc of going from just the weapons dealer to when you get to the end when Captain America says you just lost the world's best Avenger. Like, I think it's not just the emotional arc of making sacrifice play. It's the overall element of taking just this fucking playboy piece of shit, to be honest, to the point of like a superhero saying this non-superhero is the greatest defender the world has. Like, and the fact that he is what he, like, just that funeral, right? Like,
right. But when does he become the world's greatest? When does he become the best Avenger?
That's debatable. I think that you could debate that, but I think that it's after he has to obviously get through his PTSD. He's not it there. Because he can't emotionally.
It's Civil War.
You know, in Civil War, I don't think he fully even knows if he's doing the right thing. I think he's committing in the realm he is, but I think there's some doubt there. I think that's why he's reaching out to Captain America so much, right? Like, Cap's a little bit more dug in, and I think, like, Tony, you see him way more dug in. I know we're on way big of a tangent now, but you see Tony way more dug in like Endgame, right? Like, where it's like, I've got this is more important to me than anything else. So, like, if I help you, it's only under the auspices of this stays with his daughter, like, because that's after the snap. So it's like we can't undo the snap. It has to be bringing people back, not just undoing. Because if it undoes, I lose my daughter. And I think that's where it's like he's become 100%. Like, he's a totally different dude. Like the dude in the first movie. Like, dude, do you think he would have wanted kids? What? No. Was there ever? Did they ever play on a joke of like someone maybe call him about a kid, or am I dreaming that up? Where like someone says something
I think he makes a joke about I could have a kid or something like that, but he doesn't.
Early on, somewhere in the first trilogy, I think there's like some jab about the fact of like, God, you're not like, I'm not your dad or something.
Yeah,
maybe it's a kid in the third movie, but something. But I just think no, and I'm not poo-pooing Nebula. I'm just saying that I think Tony's is really hard to beat, and I'm not even a big Tony Stark fan. So, but what they did with him,
I think what they did with Nebula, going from the homicidal maniac in the first Guardians to just wanting revenge on her sister, to being a Guardian, to being an Avenger, to being a caretaker for an entire colony planet, you know, the giant head of nowhere, and like you said, crying with Rocket, caring, developing that despite what she went through. I can't say that anyone's better a character arc than that. If you're paying attention to her, I think that she gets lost in the background a lot in a lot of the movies that she's in, because she's never the main character. Not until this one. This is the first time she's a main character, because it's her, Rocket, and Peter. Those are the three main characters in this movie.
Yeah, I think they're all pretty well leads for the most part. I think
Groot is the support.
Rocket's the lead.
Yeah,
like,
but while he's down, you have to have someone with Peter to be back and forth with, and it's Nebula. And I think that's the whole Gamora. Sounds like you want to be with her. You know, funny as hell and everything. She had great moments. I love the fight scene too in the hallway where you got to see all of them kick ass.
Yeah,
like everyone kicked ass in that hallway. Not just Nebula and not just Gamora, not just Peter and Rocket.
Yeah,
everyone.
I've seen some people online saying this may be the new gold standard for hallway scenes in Marvel, which is that's a bold claim, man.
That's saying something because Daredevil's officially in Marvel. So
Well, he's always been Marvel.
well,
Not MCU. But
MCU. That's it means that.
And
now.
they tried to pretend he was MCU. Remember there
Yeah.
was that whole like one-way street where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, the event and
the
all
events,
this shit.
but they couldn't say the Avengers or Iron Man or anything like that.
No, they could have. They just
chose not to.
Yeah, they just chose
I didn't
not
know
to.
that.
No, yeah, it was like on paper it was the same universe, but the problem for me was it was the other side never looking over at them. Like you're telling me you couldn't just show them in one of the portals in Endgame or like just there was all these times they could have just had some random thing and they just chose not to. I'm like, all right, this is like that kid. It's like I'm your friend, and you're just like, okay,
That's nice, Timmy.
it's like all right, whatever, kid.
All right, so my last thing, I am shocked no one died, but I get it.
Yeah,
Because we wanted closure, not just offing characters.
yeah.
I think that was really smart by Gunn not to do that.
What about Groot being the thing,
The head,
the head with the feet, like the thing,
spider.
the 1983
Ugh.
thing?
But I will say that I fully went into this movie expecting Mantis or Quill to die because
Yeah.
I found out something. I didn't tell you about this beforehand because I didn't want to like cloud anything. The MCU is very, very bad with siblings. Find me a sibling pair that's still alive.
Loki, because they won't fucking let him die.
He's dead.
No, he's not. He's back.
He's not with Thor.
No, but he's back.
Due to time,
and-
to time travel, sir.
Yeah, no, because
Maximoffs?
because they realize like, oh shit, we can't like everyone loves this character too much. We can't
Yeah.
leave him dead, so let's just give him his own show.
Maximoffs.
And they'll get together again. You watch.
Probably.
With the whole Secret Wars
Yeah.
/ Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
We'll see the
Okay, but
Odin
but
sons again.
but Maximoffs. Okay. Gamora and Nebula, even though Gamora's back, the grunting between those two was hilarious.
yeah.
So I thought there's a couple others I can't remember what they were, but I kind of thought that Mantis was gonna bite the bullet. And there was a couple times she stepped up to that monster to calm it, and I'm like, she's just gonna get fucking eaten. That's Gunn's way of killing her. It's already been more bloody than anything. It's already had her get like broken arms and almost broke her neck 4 times.
She fell on her head every time.
Every single time.
Every time, man.
I'm like, watch this monster just go gump and just eat her, and that's the end of Nebula. But I really expected Nebula or Quill, and then Quill had his big thing at the end, and I'm like, oh, there goes Quill. They're actually going to kill off Star-Lord.
And there's people that online that are still debating on the whole helmet thing.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it have a helmet in there? People are saying that he got it broken in the second movie, and I'm like, I don't remember that.
In the Guardians Volume 2?
Yeah.
He has it in Infinity War.
Yeah, there's people that are just saying
he
that-
has it in Endgame because he sits up.
No, I know, but there's
and turns it off.
they're not.
He also
there's-
wearing it
there's-
when he attacks Spider-Man, Tony, and
no, I know
Strange.
those don't count because there's not cohesion there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people bitching that the Russos really fucked him over as a character. And if you look at Peter in the 2 Guardians movies, 3 Guardians movies now, how he looks there versus what they did with him in those movies kind of made him a dipshit.
Yeah.
He's just a dumb fucking whatever, and he was never that in those movies. He was silly.
What
but
am
he
I
was-
supposed to say? Jesus?
Yeah, like, and I love that line, by the way. But
Where
no,
do you
just,
hail from? What am I? I'm from Missouri, asshole. That's on Earth. Why are you giving
Yeah.
us a hard time? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so there's some thought that like the Russos weren't really on the same page with Gunn, so like anything they did is kind of out the window. But there's people because apparently it's not in the Christmas special either. So like
The helmet? No.
Gun wise, we haven't seen him with it since 2, but I don't remember him breaking it. But outside the theater, I was saying maybe they just didn't have him.
Well, that's why Yondu has to give him the thing because he doesn't have his helmet.
where I don't remember when it would have got broken though.
You're right. I don't remember when it would have got broken. I'm going to go home and watch Volume 2 now instead of Waco or the other thing you told me to watch. What was the
Yeah.
other thing you told me to watch? I forgot already.
The massive talent Nicolas Cage movie.
That one. But I can't watch that without my wife. So, yeah. So I think I'm going to go home and watch Volume 2 now instead of Waco. Thanks. That's on you.
Waco's
Not on
better.
me.
Waco's better. You got to watch it. It's gonna
I
be
gotta watch it.
It's good.
Okay.
Good stuff.
So that wraps what I was going to say. I turn the table over to you. You have the floor. Let's hear it.
I don't have a whole lot. We're getting close to time too.
I know.
but it works out. So, Let me go see. We already talked about Rocket. What about Quill going back to Earth?
I like it. And then we got the end credits saying Star-Lord's going to return. It did not say Guardians.
No, I knew that. I mean, dude, when you put him on Earth, how is he not going to show up?
Oh, that's true. He's going to show up first for a fight there.
Anything, yeah. He's on Earth now, for Christ's sake.
You think someone comes and gets him?
I don't know.
I hope someone comes and gets him when he's playing like Xbox or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know, but the second he's like, I'm going back to Earth, I'm like, okay, so he's going to be the one that we see in future installments. Like, I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But I think that was my thought. As I was like, cool, put him on Earth. Now he's gonna.
Now he's readily accessible. If we need him.
Exactly. Because anyone else who's like, oh, like God knows where they're at. They're out in some distant fucking thing, nowhere, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, but with him on Earth, it's like that's gonna be hard to get around.
Yeah.
Like, let's see. We talked about Drax. I'm really happy that Gamora stayed.
Oh
herself.
yeah.
So
she didn't remember, or she didn't fall in love with Quill.
Yeah, I think that would have been the biggest way to ruin her. Now, this may sound like I'm being somewhat critical, but I'm not. But what I wrote is I said Gamora not falling into the Loki-esque trap of just hand waving them back to their old version.
Yeah,
because I don't know, there was still part of me that wonders. I mean, I know you have to have Loki be the hero, but I was like, so he just watches a video and now you've transformed him from 2012 Loki to like modern Loki in like once. I don't know. I almost felt like maybe you should have kept him a little bit sinister, not full on, maybe redeem him a little bit, but don't bring him all the way back to like Infinity War Loki level of.
Have you read the fan theory? And I don't know if it's confirmed or if it's just been talked about by higher ups in like the Russo brothers and stuff like that, where Loki was under mind control during the events of Avengers.
Yeah, I've heard that for years. Not even more modern. There's been people who've said that because there's all these people that fucking love Loki, so they're trying to,
retcon him into being a good guy and stuff like that. But
because the staff,
the staff is mind control and stuff like that. And also, there's a scene, and it's what turned me onto the theory is that when he's fighting Thor, there's a scene where something explodes and it separates the two of them. Thor goes crashing down. Loki hits his head onto the Selvig hits his head onto the emitter, and Loki hits his head. And then when he gets up after that, he's just like, oh my God, what's happening? And then Thor grabs him and he's like, there's no way to stop it. There's no way to... He's like, it's like a character shift. It's interesting. It's interesting when you see someone explain it and then you watch it, because that's what I saw as a video explaining it. And then they had that scene and I'm like, well, son of a bitch. And then after that, he just kind of accepts his punishment on Asgard and is just kind of like Loki, like, oh, take the stairs to the left, kind of guy. But he's never really like really bad after that.
Yeah, no, I've heard that for a long time. That's always been kind of a thing. I'm not entirely opposed to it. I'm not into Loki as much as some people are.
Yeah, like one of the most popular pet names. Oh my God.
Yeah, no kidding.
This is Loki, and it's like I'm like, oh my God.
But yeah, my last part of that note though is I loved it. It would have ruined it for me if she and Quill had ended up together. I think that giving her meaning in like the Ravagers, like she's part of that family and stuff, like that's way more interesting to me. And like I don't know
if they set up a Ravager movie and it has like Sylvester Stallone and I just blanked on her name, Gamora.
Yeah.
Zoe Saldana.
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
I think so.
Yes, let's go me. If they had those two and then maybe introduce one or two characters to go with them that are Ravagers, absolutely. And I can't hate a guy that makes emojis in the air.
So, you realize that dude is using a wizard ring, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. There's people that are missing that. I'm like,
dude, yeah, he's absolutely using Doctor Strange's magic stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like the transportation thing that Reed Richards used in Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
is the same as the one that we saw with Kang that uses that in Loki. It has like the transportation thing.
Oh, okay.
Matches
I've only watched Loki once. I really should watch it again.
Yeah. Looks like we got Spotter in the chat. Says it was a masterpiece for me, 10 out of 10. Best Guardians movies and top 5 MCU movies.
Yeah.
I haven't really put it in context of the whole MCU yet. I want to see it again, but it is really fucking
It
good.
was really good.
I will instantly say it's the best Guardians movie.
Oh, yeah.
and that's not a light thing to say
No.
because those other two movies are fucking incredible. If you would have
Yeah.
told me in 2017 that walking out of the second one that I would have ever said that anything else is better than that one because it was just so heartfelt and stuff.
Yeah.
It was great. But the last thing I've got note wise here is the Groot line at the end.
I love you all.
Yeah.
I swear to God, if he said anything about family, I was going to throw something. I swear to God. I swear to God.
It dawned on me,
Yeah.
sleeping on it. He didn't say that. He said, I am Groot. But now we understand him.
Oh, shit. Is that what it is?
I think so.
Dude, that's so clever. I love it.
I just thought of it because I was like, it just stuck out to me a little. I mean, yeah, We Are Groot is a little bit different, but like, as the night wore on and I was like getting in bed, and I'm like, God, it just feels weird. And it sounded more like Vin Diesel than it normally
Yeah.
does. But I was just like, wait a minute.
You get past-
because Gamora starts to understand him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and that finally clicked in my head. I'm like, wait, Gamora started to understand him. I'm like, we understand him.
Yeah.
So in universe, he just said,
I wonder,
Groot.
have you tweeted that at Gunn? I bet you Gunn's like, got it.
I haven't had a chance to.
Yeah, you've been busy.
Yeah, it's been
It's been a crazy couple days.
But that was something that hit me, and I was just
Dude,
like,
you got to tweet at Gunn. I got to know if he says
I
anything.
thought about texting you, but it was like fucking 2 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, I'll wait, and then I fucking forgot to actually text you the next day. But
No, I appreciate it because you get my reaction here on the show. That's awesome.
yeah. And then Spotter says, "Dude, I never thought of that. That's really cool. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, but it connected in my mind because again, it was the Nebula
Yeah.
thing where it's like
She's
not
like-
Nebula, Gamora.
Gamora, yeah.
Finally can understand him. So I'm like, wait a minute. So yeah, I think that's my suspicion. We'll have to see if because James Gunn's very responsive. I'm not. I guarantee I'm not the only one that's thought of that. Like it just.
I wonder.
It's because once you piece the pieces together, I feel like the pieces are all there. It's just a matter of doing it. But I think that's last my notes. The only other thing I've got is I said, man, oh man, is DC in good hands.
Yeah, I know. Gunn's
like
now taking over where my boy Batman lives.
Because like I said, like this movie just felt like I think Gunn's done an incredible job top to bottom in this trilogy, but there was a mastery of both writing, directing, filmmaking, all of it that Gunn had here that he wasn't anywhere close to in 2014.
Visually stunning.
Yeah, visually stunning. The characters, the way he wrote it and stuff. He's grown a lot over the years, and of course the other movies are part of that growth that brought him to where he's at now. But just incredible, dude! I can't wait to watch it again because it was great.
It was so good.
Yeah, and of course seeing Cosmo get called a bad dog again will be worth the rewatch.
Oh my god! You deserve that.
Did that get you guys too? Because like I said, Hayden was like, "Oh," he was all bummed out. By
I
it.
was like a little bit. I was like, "Oh, don't be mean," and then he kept doing it. I'm like, "God, you're being kind of a dick."
I just love it because like Cosmo's kind of evolved, not just a
Yeah.
dog, but I just love to like bring it back to like that dog element of like the only thing that dog wants is to be called a good dog, right?
Yeah.
So like,
She is a good girl.
Like Cujo, for instance, just wanted to be called a good dog.
Yeah, and the guy wouldn't do it.
Would have stopped everything if they would have just called him a
Yes.
good dog.
Yeah, that would have fixed everything.
Well, no, that's true. Saint Bernards are beasts.
You stop it.
But yeah, I think that's all I've got. This movie just
Go see it if you haven't seen
it's
it.
so fucking good.
You stayed for the spoilers for some reason.
It's like I said, it's completely recontextualized comic book movies for me because like I said, I thought MCU there would just be a little bit of an awesome sauce that was just missing because that first 3 phases were just so whatever, and it's not that they were worse movies, it just there was a magic that maybe just won't always be there anymore. But this changes my view, man. Like this was an incredible fucking movie, and it makes me actually want to go back and watch because I never watched Peacemakers on HBO.
Peacemaker, yeah.
The show he did based off the Suicide Squad
With
movie.
John Cena?
Yeah, I loved that Suicide Squad movie. I love that character and stuff.
Yeah.
I just have never got around to watching that. But I'm like, dude, as good as this is, I need to not sleep on anything Gunn's been doing.
It's on Max.
Yeah. Well, HBO Max.
It's on Max.
Still says HBO Max on my thing. So it's
For now?
it's HBO Max. Yeah, and Spotter says, "Oh, dude, you got to watch Peacemaker. Absolutely worth watch." And that's like I said, I enjoyed that character. So I'm looking forward to diving into that. But
Yeah.
Mr. Gunn, not going to doubt him on anything here. So
I'm ready for him to do something with DC now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where it goes.
And I've looked at that. I think I even posted something on, I think it was maybe the Superman subreddit, where I'm like, guys, we're in good hands, man, because his next project is likely Superman Legacy. So it's
Yeah.
like, because there's been some doubts.
I know a lot of people are upset that Cavill won't be back.
Oh, there's also some people that are just worried that like James Gunn's one note and that everything's going to be like irreverent and musical based and just none of that shit fits Superman. So people
Yeah.
are just really nervous. I'm like, no, guys, he understands. He's even said some stuff where he's like, dude, I get that. Like what my like Guardians is not Superman, so like Superman is not gonna feel like Guardians or
Yeah.
the Suicide Squad was. That's basically Guardians, right? Like it's
That's the Guardians of the DC
it's a
universe.
similar thing. So it's like he understands. He's not
Yeah.
gonna fall into the same old trap here. So let's go ahead and I'm trying to think. I don't think I skipped the. Let me jump over here. Yeah, there we go. Because I didn't drop the closing arguments. I forgot to ask you if we had any closing arguments, so I kept the slide in.
Oh.
And I had to skip it because I didn't want to pull it up. So I don't have any closing arguments. So email wise, so that is it for the episode. If you want to email us, give us your reactions, maybe argue with us on either of the points that we made, any of the points that we made in this show. If you disagree, or if you have something to answer to one of the questions we asked each other, send it on over to us. Peter at geekeryabides.com or Tad at geekeryabides.com. Tad is TADD. And yeah, we're like I said, we alternate shows. So if you have show ideas, if you have questions for either of us, if you have a question that you want me like to be asked on air by surprise, you can email Peter and tell him to ask me. There's all kinds of shenanigans that could happen with with emails. So
Do you have any idea for closing arguments? You want to hear Ted defend how Chewbacca's the greatest Star Wars character of all time? We'll do
no,
it.
didn't we make a rule that we can't?
No, we're not going to make people do things that they don't believe in.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Tad can't make me say that Thanos is a good guy.
Oh, he's a lovable character. But yeah, that is it for this episode. We do have our next time on. Maybe we should get a soundbite for that.
Next time on Geekery Abides.
So in a fortnight from now, we will be back, and Peter can take it away because it'll be his episode. What do we got?
It's the perfect time to do it. Our top 10 comic book movies of all time, folks.
So, knee-jerk reaction, think Guardians 3 is on your list. I'm not going to hold you to it, but just gut reaction right now.
Yeah.
I
think it is.
It might be on mine, dude. Yeah,
I think it is.
That's a wide list though, because you're not narrowing it to MCU here.
No,
so
we're
this
not.
this can be pretty
Comic
broad.
book.
Yeah, just comic book movies. So, but figure time together and ask about Guardians. But yeah, so we'll be back in 2 weeks for that discussion.
Stop saying 2 weeks. It's throwing me off.
A fortnight.
Thank you.
Yes.
Shame. Shame.
How dare you?
How dare me? How dare you? You're the Fortnite lover, not me.
No. That's gonna make me sound like I play that bullshit
Oh,
video
right.
game.
You're the one that likes saying Fortnite instead of 2 weeks. There you
Yes,
go.
the term Fortnite is one of my favorite.
I
words.
apologize, sir. I do not want to make you seem like a Fortnite.
Is Fortnite the one where you play soccer with cars?
No, that's Rocket League.
No. All right.
Fortnite's the battle royale where you drop in and they put like Star Wars characters and stuff like that in there.
Oh. Okay, and then there's I don't fucking know all these goddamn video games, dude. Get off my lawn. Yeah, so
Kids.
we'll be back in a fortnight for that discussion on top 10 comic book movies. If you wanted to send a list in, you can send it in.
We'll do your top 10 along with our top 10.
Yeah, you could do that as well. And yeah, we'll see you guys then. And sign off, I guess, kind of as I always do, is fucking love what you love, man. If somebody wants to shame you for whatever your nerdery is, tell them to fuck off.
I am Groot.
All right, see you guys.
I am Groot.